Now because these are very strong, what they'll do, say आपको से raindrops को कहवा भाई तू भी चल आम संगे ऊपर को, okay, so they will carry these raindrops along. These raindrops will not be allowed to fall to the earth. They'll also be carried along to the even upper atmosphere levels here. Okay. Now, ethi there is something called super cooled water. But ethi jo generally situation thae seta hue ni, so you get droughts in Australia. You get forest fires in Australia. Hospitals kono kon rahibo? Ye di jono tangor bada badi huontu. Mu moro bill maximize करेंगे, मो बिल्स एकदम हाई रहिबो, बढ़िया चार्ज करेंगे, इवन दो सम ऑफ दोस चार्जेस डू नॉट मेक एनी सेंस, 2 लाख टका फॉर अ टेस्ट, 3 लाख टका फॉर अ टेस्ट, बट मो बिल्स मैक्सिमाइज करेंगे. तुम अपना आपस में देख लो कौन पैसे दे रहा है, मुझे अपने पैसे से मतलब है. नाउ दिस इज गेमिफिकेशन. ओके, हेलो एवरीवन, वेलकम बैक टू आवर यूट्यूब चैनल. आज आम डिस्कस करवा आम स्कॉलरशिप टेस्ट सॉल्यूशंस. इट वाज हेल्ड फॉर एडमिशंस इनटू आवर प्रीलिम्स प्रोग्राम, द टेस्ट सीरीज. थैंक यू टू एवरीवन हु रिस्पॉन्डेड. This was a full-length test designed exactly how OPSC asks its questions. Current affairs, polity, economy, एमती 15-20 करके जेमती से मैंने पचारती आम सेमती डिजाइन करी पेपरटा. ठीक जमी लास्ट टाइम मु पॉलिटीर क्वेश्चन पेपर डिस्कस करी, 2 घंटा लगी 50टा क्वेश्चन डिस्कस करिया को. दिस इज 100 क्वेश्चंस, सो ए 3.5 आवर्स लगी जापे. तो आपको आपण पार्ट पार्ट करी देखंतु या 1.5x स्पीड रो देखंतु, बट देखिबे निश्चय, because all your conceptual clarity, the background stories of what is happening, where it is happening, all these aspects I'll take you through. This will help you immensely in your prelims preparation for the upcoming exam, which is about 3 months away from now. We are expecting it to be held in the 3rd week of October or the 2nd week of October. So without any further delay, let's get started. ठीक जेमती सबु वर्ष first 15 questions are exclusively devoted to the current affairs part. So I have also designed the question paper in the same way. The first question is about Green Credit Program. Green Credit Program by Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change is has been started to to incentivize people. Incentivize माने promote या फिर लोगों को encourage करिया पाए कि you also do your bit for the environment, you also contribute for the environment. How? By afforestation, by water management, by air pollution management, by solid waste management, or some green buildings, anything. However you can, as an industry or a company or a philanthropist or an individual or an NGO, anyone whoever it is can contribute, can get a green credit. What is a green credit? Green credit is a tradable certificate. ओके, ग्रीन क्रेडिट इज अ ट्रेडेबल सर्टिफिकेट. जदि गोटे कंपनी ग्रीन क्रेडिट पाई जाउची, जदि गोटे फॉर एग्जांपल 20 एकर लैंड रे, दिस इज अ 20 एकर barren land. Okay, now 20 acre barren land रे, if a company does some reforestation or afforestation, so they can get a green credit. And then some other company who needs to do this, okay, this is company A, this is company B. Okay, they also need to do this under their CSR हेगला या फिर कांपा फंड्स हेगला or whatever. So जदि तांकु दरकार बट से माने करिया पे त तांको पाखरे या तो टेक्निकल एबिलिटी नहीं या तो टाइम नहीं, what they can do, they can buy this green credit. They will give them money and they will give their green credit. So it's a tradable piece, it's a tradable tool. Okay, so this was the whole story of green credits. The first statement is NGOs selected by the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change will be the implementing agencies for tree plantation. No, that is not the case. There is a body called ICFRE, Indian Council of Forest Research and Education. This is the implementing agency. So this statement is wrong. And the second statement is industries, companies, philanthropists and individuals are encouraged to participate in the Green Trade Program. This is correct. आउ किछि फैक्ट्स जदि मु कहबे एठी 2023 रे एटा स्टार्ट हेथिला. Let's just go through the solution if we are actually missing something. Yes, so 2023 incentivize voluntary environmental actions. Green credits are tradable units that reward individuals, communities, and companies for undertaking environmentally positive activities. It can be anything. ICFRE is the body, and yeah, statement 2 is correct. So no, we are not majorly missing out on anything. These are the overall facts. So the answer is 2 only. Okay. The second question is, according to the 2024 World Air Quality Report, Chad, a country in a country was ranked as the most polluted country in the world. Where will you find Chad on the world map? Okay. Factual question, Chad is in Africa. So let's see. East of India? No. Africa is to the west of India. North of Mediterranean Sea? No. Africa is to the south of Mediterranean Sea. West of the Red Sea? Now, yes, this is the correct option. South of Brazil is again an incorrect option. ठीक है यार, map टा में देखी दबा फटाफट. So see, here you have Chad, okay, and the 2024 World Air Quality Report by a Swiss company called IQ Air. Okay, 8 मन रखते हुए. Who publishes it? Swiss company IQ Air. And तार जदि आउ किछि आमे readings देखिबा, then Birnihat, a town in Assam Meghalaya border. Birnihat is in Meghalaya. Okay, it is known for its export industries. Cement, steel, aluminium, alloy, and tanneries, all these industries city pura ote clustered achi. Hence it is one of the most polluted, or actually the most polluted town in the world, actually not even in India, in the world. A values, I don't know, OPSC asks these random values at times. Semane ethi 128 jagare 228 कर दे पारंती या only 28 कर दे पारंती. So a values गुड़ा भी टिक्के आपण ख्याल रखिबे. Birnihat, Meghalaya. Then New Delhi continues to be the world's most polluted capital city with an annual PM 2.5 level of 91.8. In अब यदि trends कथा हबा, then a statement can be India has seen a decrease in PM 2.5. Okay, national average concentration decreased by 7%. ता माने किछि ना किछि on ground तो होछि. एबे भी levels बहुत high अच्छी, but पूर्व वर्ष अपेक्षा टिके decrease हेछि, which is a good thing. And major contributions include vehicular emissions, industrial pollution, burning of biomass, etc. etc. So ये सब तो बहुत ही माने common जिनस, but एमतिया केतेटा factual जिनस आपण टिके mind रे रखिथिबे. This is Chad, by the way, okay, in Africa. एटा गोटे world map based question पचारथिली. The Vistar project, these are all facts, so we'll just rush through them and go to the actual static subjects joti majata ase. Let's make this quick. Vistar project by IIT Madras in collaboration with Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare. This is about agricultural extension services. What are agricultural extension services? माने agriculture विषय रे जहाँ भी information, जहाँ भी scientific information ताकू आमको फार्मर्स को केमती पहुँचेबार अच्छी, केमती डिसेमिनेट करिबार अच्छी. दैट इज एक्सटेंशन सर्विसेस. सो समथिंग लाइक एबे वेदर कौन रहिबो, समथिंग लाइक एई प्लांट पाई कौन फर्टिलाइजर देले भलो हबो, केते मात्रा रे फर्टिलाइजर देले बेटर हबो, एंड ऑल दोज साइंटिफिक एस्पेक्ट्स. दैट बिकॉज फार्मर्स लिटरेसी रेट इज नॉट दैट हाई, सो दे डू नॉट हैव द मोस्ट साइंटिफिक इंफॉर्मेशन. सो प्रोजेक्ट विस्तार, IIT Madras, Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, improve the efficiency and effectiveness of India's agricultural extension system through digitalization. There is something called submission on agricultural extension, if you know this. Gote yaar amar gote scheme achi under Department of Farmers and Agricultural Welfare. Department of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare. Okay, so eta tike mind rakhibe. So this is what it is: crop production, marketing, supply chain management bisare information diyo, innovations and technology bisare information diyo, comprehensive information on government schemes bisare information diyo. Ei jo KVK, Krishi Vigyan Kendras, and all those aspects, they all come under agricultural extension services. So this is thik jemti, these are all very factual things that OPSC can ask, and this was covered under GK today. So GK today is something that they follow, so I had asked this question. Okay, 75-25 initiative, it is chatta confusing option achi. The answer to this is hypertension. Yes, diabetes and hypertension, delivering standardized care for 75 million individuals with hypertension and diabetes by 2025. This is 75-25 initiative. एठी मने रखियार अछि आपनकु वर्ल्ड हाइपरटेंशन डे को दिन पडुछि. Again, another fact that gets derived from the question. May 17, 2023 World Day se mane bahut pacharanti. So this can be asked. Chances are less, but you cannot avoid it. Okay, this is hypertension. Next, coming to international relations question. Consider the following countries: Bangladesh, Bhutan, Myanmar, Nepal. India has established a cross-border electricity trade program with how many of the above countries? ये how many of the above इत्ते बेल जाए OPSC रे पचरा है नहीं, but last 2 years हेलानी UPSC रे पचरा हेलानी, तो ए वर्ष you can expect how many of the above type countries रो गोटे question निश्चय आसिबो 100% आसिबो. Okay, so all these are neighboring countries आम संगे border अच्छी, and the answer is all of them. We have cross-border electricity trade programs with all of them. The thing to be noticed here is good interesting fact एठी हेला most पाई आमे हेलु exporter. Okay, माने आमे कम import करूछु बेसी export करूछु, so आमको पैसा मिलुछि. But Bhutan is the only country जहाँ थु कि आमे होछु major importer. Same आमे export तांको कम करूचे, import तांको ठु बेसी करूचे. See, all these are in minus values, minus. India's net electricity imports, and minus माने actually getting exported, but this is the only positive value here. Tamane Bhutan, of course, it's such great height. 99% of Bhutan's electricity is from hydroelectricity. Okay, tankaro jo geography allows them to have this facility. Okay, and then tankor winter months re tanko electricity as such darkar nahi, so what they do, they export that electricity to India. Okay, and that's a huge amount, 3863. Amo northeastern states pai we import electricity from them, from all these 3 or 4 countries ja sangere ki northeast re amara border achi. Which of the following ports is geographically farthest from Mumbai? Again, a map based question at the same time. All these are strategic ports for India. Okay, Ithi, Sitwe, Myanmar, the trilateral multimodal Kaladan project, Chabahar, Iran, amara deal achi, Gwadar, Pakistan, CPEC starting point, Hambantota, Sri Lanka. Ebbe recently we have acquired that port. So which of them are geographically farthest? So in the exam hall, what you have to do, you have to draw the map roughly. Somewhere here you have Mumbai, 80 jadi MT Jiba, then 80 somewhere you have Pakistan re Gwadar, 80 side re you have Chabahar, 80 Sri Lanka re you have Hambantota, and then 80 jette vele ame northeast ku jauche, somewhere here you will get Sitwe. So apne basically line draw kariki dekhibe, choto line, tikke lamba line, सबुठु लंबा line. Okay, exam hall strategy mu कहूँ जदि exact जिनस जानी ना so question solve करना हंती, so you will just see which is the longest line that you are drawing. The answer is Sitwe. Okay, तार मु देखे दोचे आपनको map टा. So this is Mumbai, 80 Gwadar, 80 Chabahar, 80 Hambantota, but this is the longest line that there is. Okay, and the distance is 2097 kilometers. 2 others 1700, 1500, 1200, etc. Okay, so this was it. Akash Tir, very famous, first time used in Operation Sindoor. बहुत ही बढ़िया effective use to thwart those attempts by Pakistani drones. It was developed by which of the following? Again, another typically factual question that OPSC can ask. So the answer is Bharat Electronics Limited. This is my bad. Yeah, this is just let me read the solution. This is a indigenous automated air defense control and reporting system. Automate operations, integrate sensors, enable rapid response. You know the facts. Okay, the S400 hegala, Iron Dome hegala. S400 is Russian. Okay, Iron Dome is Israel. Same thing. Amorethra asila Akash Tir. All these are air defense systems to negate drones and missiles. Okay, Bharat Electronics Limited. Remember this. Defense exercises. Okay. Consider the following defense exercises: nomadic elephant, Atalanta, Khanjar, Mongolia, European Union, Kyrgyzstan. All are correctly matched. Okay. And you have to remember semti auri list of at least 15-20 exercises achi. Dharma, Guardian, Abhyas, and all those aspects. Taku tike bhal se padhiki jibe because they do ask these questions. The answer is all three. How many are again pairs are correctly matched? Mu both sara how many questions etra pacharchi because you have to get used to the new kind of questions that are being asked these days. Okay, last year, why this question about America's President Donald Trump? Last year they did ask about Bangladeshi president. Okay, so I thought why not frame a question around American president this time because America president बहुत ସବୁ ଜିନିଷରେ ତାଙ୍କୁ ଆଜିକାଲି କ୍ରେଡିଟ୍ ନେବାର ଅଛି ଗଡ୍ ବ୍ଲେସ୍ ୟୁଏସ୍ଏ ଗୋଟେ ଲାଷ୍ଟ ଷ୍ଟେଟମେଣ୍ଟ ରହିବେ ଗଡ୍ ବ୍ଲେସ୍ ୟୁଏସ୍ଏ ଗ୍ରେଟେଷ୍ଟ କଣ୍ଟ୍ରି ଇନ୍ ଦ ୱାର୍ଲଡ ମୁଁ ପାକିସ୍ତାନ ଆଉ ଇଣ୍ଡିଆ ଭିତରେ ଏଇଆ କରିଦେଲି ସେୟା କରିଦେଲି ସୁଲା କରେଇଦେଲି ମୁଁ ହେଲି ହିରୋ ସୋ ଆଇ ଥଟ୍ ସେ ଯେହେତୁ ଏତେ ନ୍ୟୁଜ୍ରେ ରହୁଛନ୍ତି ଦେଖିଆ ଗୋଟେ କ୍ୱେଶ୍ଚନ୍ ଫ୍ରେମ୍ କରିବା ତାଙ୍କ ଉପରେ କ'ଣ କ୍ୱେଶ୍ଚନ୍ ହେଇପାରିବ ସୋ ଆଇ ହାଭ୍ ଟେକନ୍ ସମ୍ ଫ୍ୟାକ୍ଟସ୍ ଟ୍ୱିଷ୍ଟେଡ୍ ଦେମ୍ ଆଣ୍ଡ ଫ୍ରେମ୍ ଦିସ୍ କ୍ୱେଶ୍ଚନ୍ ସୋ ହି ଇଜ୍ ଦ ଫର୍ଷ୍ଟ ପ୍ରେସିଡେଣ୍ଟ ଇନ୍ ୟୁଏସ୍ ହିଷ୍ଟ୍ରି ଟୁ ସର୍ଭ 2 non-consecutive terms. No, this is incorrect. There was a president in the 19th century known as George Glover, जे कि 2 non-consecutive terms serve करछंती माने इट्स अ वेरी अनयूजुअल थिंग से माने या तो मैक्सिमम आज पर्यंत जेते यूएस प्रेसिडेंट्स रहिछंती मैक्सिमम लोक हैव सर्व्ड 2 consecutive terms एते जेहेतु पॉपुलैरिटी थाए आउ थे इलेक्शंस जीति जाती एंड तांको कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन सेज दीटा टर्म रु बेसी के रही पारिबेनी सो सेकंड टर्म पर दे हैव टू रिटायर दे कैन नॉट बी द प्रेसिडेंट अगेन बट ओनली ट्वाइस इन देयर हिस्ट्री दिस हैज हैपेंड दैट वन पर्सन 2016 ରୁ 20 ରହିଲା 20 ରୁ 24 ଭିତରେ ରହି ପାରିଲାନି because his fame had declined, his policies had a negative impact on people, and then again he was able to become famous and have a positive impact on people's minds, and again comes back to being the president. This has happened only twice, so he was not the first president, he was the second president. Trump has been a member of the Republican Party throughout his political career. No, से डेमोक्रेट हिसाब रे भी रहिचंती इंडिपेंडेंस पार्टी हिसाब रे भी रहिचंती रिपब्लिकन पार्टी भी रहिचंती एमती तांकर बहुत स्विच करची सो दिस इज आल्सो रॉन्ग he is the only US president to have been impeached twice by the House Representatives, by the House of Representatives. Yes, this is correct. Incorrect is the option. Please read the questions carefully. कौन पूछ रहा है जी? So answer is 1 and 2 only. Donald Trump, Grover Cleveland. Okay, party affiliation has changed multiple times over the years. Independence Party, Democrat, and then Republican Party. And this happened ये जो दी थर जो impeach agency 2000 December 2019 and January 2021. Okay, by the House of Representatives. Upper House रे that motion has been defeated, so that he was not removed from presidentship, but he has been impeached in the lower house. ताको against the proceedings lower house रे ହେଇଛି. Okay. Sports question. Domarajo Gukesh एबे मैग्नस कार्लसन को सेकंड टाइम हरेले became the youngest undisputed world champion at the age of 18. Whose record did he break to achieve this milestone? The answer is Garry Kasparov. Okay, Garry Kasparov was 22. Domarajo Gukesh is just 18. India's pride in chess. Okay. Odisha's Advait Charan Gandanayak recently received the Padma Shri award for his contribution in which of the following fields? Answer is art. बहुत सारा नेशनल मॉन्यूमेंट्स सेंट्रल पिलर्स वगैरह तांकर कंट्रीब्यूशन अच्छी से ताको डिजाइन करछंती दिस इज गुकेश डी गुकेश दिस इज अद्वैत चरण गंडनायक celebrated for creating national landmarks including the central structure at the National Police Memorial and the statue of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose near India Gate in New Delhi. Okay, so these are all factual questions just like they ask. Bharatiya Bhasha Pustak Scheme announced in the Union Budget, okay, provide digital books in Indian languages is being implemented under the purview of which ministry? Ethi dita option बहुत easily eliminate hobo. Social justice sangre आर किछि लेना देना नहीं. Information and broadcasting also you can eliminate. Confusion hobo Ministry of Culture and Ministry of Education better because Bharatiya Bhasha Pustak Scheme. If you don't know the options, if you try to logically eliminate them, the answer is Ministry of education. Eita asichi so that students can have digital copies of books, digital books in any language, in in the language of their preference. Okay, Bharatiya Bhasha Pustak Scheme, Union Budget 2025-26. Answer is Ministry of Education. Okay, now what a Odisha related current affairs question. Researchers from Ravenshaw and Utkal universities have patented an extract from red algae found in Chilika Lake for its potential to protect skin from UV radiation and prevent skin cancer. This is correct. A red algae was in news recently because Ravenshaw Utkal universities लोक जाइंके सेठी research करूछन्ते. Okay. The protective properties of the algae are primarily attributed to the high levels of phycobilins, the pigments that gave algae their characteristic red color. No, this is incorrect. Okay, these are all factual questions. Basically, I mean just पढ़ी दबा तारो solutions. से किसी बुझेवा पाएं किसी नहीं. Researchers from 2 universities did a 20-year patent for the discovery that red algae, which is Gracilaria verrucosa. Again, they can ask which of the following is Gracilaria verrucosa. 100% chance. Okay. Chilika Lake contains compounds that can protect against UV damage and have potential anti-cancer properties. Red algae belong to Rhodophyta, ancient group of mostly marine eukaryotic algae. All these small aspects are facts that are important for your exam. Okay. Then, while why statement 2 is wrong? Phycobilins, okay, मान लिया कि they are the pigments responsible for the algae's red color. Okay, but the specific compounds identified for UV protection are mycosporin-like amino acids, MAAs. Okay. এই जो जिनसटा आमे कहूछु कि UV against protection दोची, cancer against protect करूची. Phycobilins is not the one responsible for it. The one that is responsible for it is this thing. Mycosporin amino acids. They are known to absorb harmful UVA and UVB rays, thus providing protective effect. The statement incorrectly attributes function to phycobilins. So the statement is wrong. And hence the answer is again 1 only. Heat waves. Now this is a very interesting thing. Consider the following statements regarding heat waves conditions as defined by the Indian Meteorological Department. Okay. Correct. Last question, which of the following are incorrect? Let's see. A heat wave is declared in plains when the maximum temperatures reach at least 37 degrees Celsius. See, 8 statement wrong है गला. It is never just blanket declaration है जाए नहीं just because 37 degrees Celsius है गला. So this is the biggest hint. जदि आपनों factual जिनसा जाना भी नहीं कितने डिग्री सेल्सियस कौन डिग्री सेल्सियस वगैरह ये जो declared, no, it is actually considered. Okay. कि ठीक अच्छी मैंने they become alert when these temperatures start showing up. एबी भी डिक्लेरेशन ପାଇଁ ଆହୁରି ବହୁତ ସାରା conditions ଦରକାର. So 8 ही statement wrong ହେଇଗଲା. And the other fact is ଏଇଟା values have been reversed. This should come here. This should come here. Both are incorrect. Answer is both 1 and 2. But let me take this opportunity to explain a bit to you about how heat waves are, declared. Okay. So 80 जो space अच्छे ताको use करिया. So आमो country रे first मु टिके factual जिनस केतेटा एटी पढ़ी दोची. For a heat wave to be considered in plains, the maximum temperature of the station must at least reach 40 degrees Celsius. For coastal areas, a heat wave may be declared, which is considered when the normal is 37 degree or the normal temperature is 4.5 degrees Celsius or greater. And for hills, it is 30 degree. So हमको ये तीनटा value मिलला 37 degree, 40 degree and 30 degree. Okay, 37 degree is for coastal areas, 40 degree is for plains, and 30 degrees Celsius is for hills. These are all the minimum values where they will consider. Okay, consider करिबे कि अरे इते तो गरम हवा कथा नुहे इते को इते गरम हेलानी हो देखो एथरो स्टडी करिया स्टार्ट करो आमे डिक्लेयर करिबा इवेंचुअली. नाउ से इवेंचुअली टा केबे, when does that eventually come? So there are two ways in which they declare heat waves. Okay, one is departure from normal. Okay, गोटे long term normal average temperature अच्छी ताठू केते अधिका अछि ओके एंड वन इज maximum temperature okay again maximum temperature is very easy ठीक अछि any place irrespective of plains coastal or hills etc any place जदि 45 degree celsius touch करी गला ताले heat wave is declared जदि 47 degree celsius touch करी गला ताले severe heat wave is declared any place this is the maximum temperature irrespective of long term annual kono minimum kono average kono and all those aspects this is one way of declaration of heat waves the other is departure from normal now departure from normal le range achi jodi long term average ro this is 4.5 to 6.4 degree celsius extra जदि हे गला ओके फॉर एग्जांपल जयपुर रे आमे मे रे अच्छे ओके दिस इज मे रो माने पीक समर ओके लॉन्ग टर्म एवरेज इज 41 डिग्री सेल्सियस ठीक है दिस इज 28th May okay then we go to 29th May we go to 30th May we go to 1st June oh नहीं 31st June अच्छी परा sorry 31st May okay now this is the long term average एतिकी थिला 28th May long term average is equal to 41 degree celsius 28th May को एतिकी थिला 29th May को धरन तो 43 degree celsius है गला so this is what pen अलगा यूज करिया this is +2 still +2 but +2 doesn't still come in this range 4.5 to 6.4 degree celsius so this is not a heat wave day okay this is not still heat wave next आम 30th May को हे गला धरंतु 45 degree celsius again this is just +4 not in our range आपको लिखे देबा एटा टिके मन रखथिबे मु लिखोची this is 45 degree this is 47 degree heat wave severe heat wave okay for 45 कले भूले जीव ना okay so this is 44 degree celsius धरंतु okay this is still +3 and hence we will not consider this this thing heat wave day but now suppose 31st May को एठी हे गला 45.5 degree celsius okay now this is a heat wave day it satisfies both the conditions एठी भी 45 degree celsius maximum temperature भी टच करियला and ए range भीतर भी पळे आसला 4.5 degree celsius हे गला तारो ये okay so this is departure from normal I'll just take you through everything so when temperature becomes exceptionally high a heat wave is declared regardless of the normal departure 45 degree celsius heat wave 47 degree celsius severe heat wave duration 8 are important at least 2 stations in that subdivision for at least 2 consecutive days again a small factual detail that is important so same temperature gotte dino khali घंटे पे लगी गले आमे हीट वेव डिक्लेयर करबानी आसपास भुवनेश्वर कटक 45 फॉर 2 days ताले जाएंगे ए रीजन रे हमरो डिक्लेयर हबो हीट वेव ओके सो 2 stations 2 consecutive days this is the minimum criteria that is required ठीक सेमती मॉनसून रो भी क्राइटेरिया अछि साउथ वेस्ट मॉनसून आसी गला हमें केमती करिया जस्ट बिकॉज केरला रो सदर्न मोस्ट टिप रे वर्षा हे गले बोली थोड़ी साउथ वेस्ट मॉनसून आसी गला नहीं आईएमडी रो केतेटा स्टेशंस अछि से स्टेशंस रे मिनिमम एतिकी रेनफॉल हेला जून 5 रु जून 10 भितरे ता परे जाईकी ही साउथ वेस्ट मॉनसून ये हुए तो सब जिंस रे गोटे क्राइटेरिया थाए दिस इज द क्राइटेरिया फॉर हीट वेव ओके एंड सो this is the story about heat wave आउ किछि एथरे बेसी पढ़िया लायक नाही टिक्के आको खाली मन रखथिबे departure from normal and maximum temperature there are 2 ways of declaring heat waves एटा मन रखियार अछि आ ए तीनटा वैल्यू मन रखियार अछि if you can just make this story in your mind you are good to go okay चलो next question is about permafrost melting which of the following are likely impacts of permafrost melting So release of gases like methane, carbon dioxide and ground level ozone. See ଏଇଠି ଗୋଟେ ମୁଁ ଖାଲି ମାନେ बिकॉज आमे सेई एग्जाम हॉल रे थिला बेले सेमती जस्ट माइंडसेट रे थाओ कि हाँ एमती सब क्वेश्चंस रो प्राय आंसर डी हेई थाए और एमती आमे एइठी मीथेन पढ़ दबा, कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड पढ़ दबा एंड विल नॉट बॉदर टू फोकस मच ऑन व्हाट इज द थर्ड ऑप्शन. All these things have happened with me, with my friends, with those who have been giving this exam for a long time. So I can tell this with 100% surety that these things happen in exam. Okay, so some of you might not focus on this aspect, ground level ozone. होता होगा करके you will mark this correct. Okay, but ground level ozone has nothing to do with permafrost melting. This is volatile organic compounds plus sunlight. A dita jinsa reaction hele you get ground level ozone, which is a secondary pollutant. Eta apna environment re padhithibe. Okay, so this is a pollution हुए, air pollution हुए या जो. So this makes the whole statement incorrect. Okay, infrastructure damage from subsidence and instability. Yes, permafrost melting. जहाँ भी धरन्तु आर्कटिक रे अंटार्कटिका रे धरन्तु केतेटा रिसर्च फैसिलिटीज अच्छी, छोट छोट बिल्डिंग्स बनैछन्ति सेमाने सेठी रहि के रिसर्च करिया पय. जदि मेल्ट हैला, of course it will damage them. So this is correct. Increased frequency of glacial lake outburst floods. Yes, एबे इंडिया रे भी बहुत सारा जगह रे एमती होची. सिक्किम रे भी रिसेंटली हेतला. Preserving ancient microbial life for scientific research. No, preserving नहीं, exposing. प्रिजर्व थिला से एते वर्ष हैला, मिलियंस ऑफ इयर्स हैला प्रिजर्व थिला से बरफ भितरे. बट एबे जेहेतु बरफ मेल्ट होची तो ता भितरे जेति सब एंशिएंट माइक्रोबियल लाइफ थिले दे आर गेटिंग एक्सपोज्ड, दे आर नॉट गेटिंग प्रिजर्व्ड एनीमोर. से सब बाहर आछुंती. एंड हेंस गोटे एटा भी डर रहउची कि यू नेवर नो व्हाट काइंड ऑफ डिजीजेस आर waiting for us in the near future when those ancient microbes start getting mingling with our atmosphere. So this is also wrong, and hence the answer is 2 and 3. So take care, careful. You have to read, you have to think, reason dabar achi nijoku explain karegi, convince hela pare hi you go for 2 and 3. Otherwise seti apan just blindly 1 2 3 4 mark kar dei asibe nahi. Okay, so that takes care of the whole current affairs section. Now we'll start with the polity section. Okay, so polity रे जे स्थिक जेमती लास्ट टाइम मु आपन को सब आर्टिकल कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन एंड खोलिकी सब देखौथली, बही खोलिकी देखौथली. ठीक सेमती एथरो भी आई विल टेक यू थ्रू देम टू हेल्प यू गेट योर कॉन्सेप्ट्स क्लियर. Which of the following institutional features are common to both India and United States? Okay. The Vice President serves as the ex officio chairperson of the upper house. This is correct. India रे you have article 64 and article 89. See एटा एते obvious fact आप आई मु constitution खोलिया को चाहुनी. टाइम हमें टिके सेव करिवा because this is going to be a really long discussion, 100 questions. हमें जानिचे Vice President serves as the ex officio chairperson of the upper house, and this is also say true for US. US रे upper house को कहते Senate. Okay, एंड जदि आप गोटे सीरीज देखते हाउस ऑफ कार्ड्स. ओके, जो थे कि फॉरगेटिंग दैट नेम्स, दैट एक्टर्स नेम, he's very he has lost his reputation now because of Me Too allegations, but very good actor. तार हाउस ऑफ कार्ड्स रे देखिबे सेनेट रे he becomes the chairperson. Okay, same thing. Upper house reflects population based representation from constituent assemblies in both the countries. No. US रे you have 2 seats fixed for all 50 states and hence only 100 seats in the Senate. Okay, so the something smallest of states. Okay, for example big states like Montana हेगला या फिर Philadelphia हेगला, से माने सबू they will have their own the same 2 seats. छोटो छोटो states, New England हेगला and the New England region, the northeastern region of US, सेठिकार जो एडी state, Massachusetts for example, even they will have the two seats. So they do not have population based representation, but we have population based representation. We have 245 seats, 233 of them elected indirectly from the state, and then 12 nominated. A 233 re you have population based. Okay, in the UP I think 80 ta seats achi, ठीक है, because UP has the highest population and all those aspects. So this statement is wrong. Upper house is constitutionally barred from initiating money bills. Again, this is correct. सेठी भी सेया हमर 110 रे लिखा हेची कि money bill can only initiate in the lower house. Okay, in both the countries, heads of state served fixed terms of equal duration. No, theirs it is 4 years, ours it is 5 years. Okay, they have a maximum cap of 2 times. दी थर ही रही पारे आमर एमती किसी कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन कोट लिखा है अनलिमिटेड टाइम्स रही पार जिते लंबा चाहे रही पार खाली बार बार इलेक्ट हबार अच्छी. सो द आंसर इज 1 and 3 ओनली. ओके, cool, simple enough. A case study based question. Okay, a 14-year-old girl in Rajasthan is denied admission to a government school because her parents are migrant laborers without a permanent address. Okay, she is also compelled to help her mother in agricultural fields during school hours, leaving her with no access to formal education. तो तार गोटे बैकग्राउंड स्टोरी आपन को दिया है. डिनाइड एडमिशन, पेरेंट्स आर माइग्रेंट्स, केतटा सब कीवर्ड्स, compelled to help her mother in agricultural fields, no access to formal education. ये हेगला तारा बैकग्राउंड स्टोरी से झियोटार 14 वर्ष झियोटार. Which of the following fundamental rights are being violated here? 15, 21, 21A, 24. Okay, so let's see. गोटे गोटे करी आगो बढ़िया. 15 रे discrimination is not allowed. Okay, discrimination on the basis of RRCSP, race, religion, caste, sex, place of birth. Okay, बट एठी प्लेस ऑफ बर्थ वाला जिनसटा देखंतु तांको काहे कि पब्लिक स्कूल रे एडमिशन दौ नहांती से माने बिकॉज पेरेंट्स आर माइग्रेंट्स एंड डू नॉट हैव परमानेंट एड्रेस व्हिच मीन्स दिस इज बीइंग वायोलेटेड समवेयर. सो यस, आर्टिकल 15 इज बीइंग वायोलेटेड. आर्टिकल 21 राइट टू लिव विथ डिग्निटी इज आर्टिकल 21. जदि तमे ताको पढ़िया को दौन, जदि तमे ताको फील्ड्स रे काम करिया को माने मजबूर कर दोच, कोड ना कोठी डिग्निटी लूज हैला, अगेन Article 21 is being violated. 21A, right to education. Again, 6 to 14 years of age. At माने 21A कौन कोची 6 to 14 years of age. 86th amendment by the way. 21A. Okay. So 6 to 14 years of age, every child should get free education. This girl is 14 years of age. 15 वर्ष तक है ही नहीं. Technically qualifies, and so this right is also being violated. Article 24. Now this says children जो child labor वाला article, children below 14 years of age should not work in hazardous mines or industries. Okay, child labor is banned. Below 14 years of age should not work. Now two things. This girl is already 14 years of age. Okay, so this does not apply here. The answer is 1, 2 and 3 only. तो यही जिनसटा बस ये आइडेंटिफाई करार थिला. मु टिके जदि आपन को देखे पारी बी. सो दिस इज कंट्रोल F24. या prohibition of employment of children in factories. No child below the age of 14 years shall be employed to work in any factory or mine or engaged in any other hazardous employment. Okay, so any other hazardous employment ro ethi kichita ame mane interpretation ro chances uthuchi, but agriculture is not hazardous employment, number 1. Number 2, ethi se 14 years below bhi no hai. She is of 14. Okay, below 14 mane she has to be something 13 years and some days, but that is not the case here, and so the answer is 1, 2 and 3 only. Do not get confused. This is it. Okay. Right to legal aid in India. With reference to right to legal aid in India, consider the following statements. Oh, sorry, take a screen change again. Yeah, it has been explicitly guaranteed as a fundamental right by the Constitution through Article 39A. एटा मु जान सुनी के एठी वर्ड टा देछि. Article 39A is a DPSP. Okay, is not a fundamental right. बहुत पिला एटा भूल भी करछंती से माने मु जतले एनालिटिक्स देखुथिली, it just seems right, so से fundamental rights को कर देछंती ताको. Okay, so this statement is wrong. This is a DPSP. It is a statutory right provided under the Legal Services Authorities Act 1987. This is correct. It is enforceable under Part 3 of the Constitution in both civil and criminal matters. This is again correct. Article 21 रे Husainara Khatun case. Okay. Supreme Court has said right to free legal aid is a fundamental right. So enforceable under part 3. Part 3 is what? Fundamental right. 21 article 21 देनी, part 3 देची, just to test your माने deeper knowledge. Part 3 तमे जानचो ना नहीं कौन. So part 3, this is correct. It applies only to Indian citizens. This is wrong because जो act अच्छी, जो right to legal aid जते वाला act, एक तो article 21 रे भी लिखा है any person, it's not any citizen. आमे केमती जानचे को जिनसटा इंडिया पाई इंडियन सिटीजन्स पाई ओनली एंड को जिनसटा फॉर ऑल फॉर एनी सिटीजन इररेस्पेक्टिव ऑफ वेयर ही कम्स फ्रॉम बिकॉज देखिए दबा आप लोगों आर्टिकल 21 यस नो पर्सन बुझले चल नो पर्सन शैल बी डिप्राइव्ड ऑफ हिज लाइफ लिखा है जी then no person is all citizens माने any citizen any person irrespective of whether or not he belongs to India. Okay, now टिके जदि ऊपर को जिबा हमें 15 पाखा पाखी को जिबा there shall be equality of opportunity for all citizens in matters related to employment. Citizens आसीगला तो it's only for Indian citizens. City persons थिला so it applies to everyone irrespective of Indian citizens. So घुसिया दरकार नहीं ये जो आप गोटे लिस्ट घुसुचंती लक्ष्मीकांत रे देखिथिबे आई एम प्रिटी श्योर मेनी ऑफ यू आर जस्ट मगिंग इट अप माने कि हाँ 15 16 19 29 30 एंड बाकी सबू एसेट्रा नो इट इज रिटन इट्स ऑल लॉजिकल ऑल सिटीजन्स सेठी लिखा है पर्सन्स तो जोटी पर्सन्स आसीगला सिटीजन्स नुए एवरीवन. ओके सो आर्टिकल 21 रे इट्स ऑब्वियसली लिखा है नो पर्सन एंड आमे आपको राइट टू लीगल एड को आर्टिकल 21 भितर इंटरप्रिट करूचे सो टू से इट अप्लाइज ओनली टू इंडियन सिटीजन्स इज रॉन्ग. ओके तार टिके आमे जदि एक्सप्लेनेशन टा देखिबा Legal Services Authorities free legal aid under section 12 of the Legal Services Authorities Act are not limited to Indian citizens. The act uses the term person Constitution रे भी लिखा है Act रे भी से लिखा है and extends the benefit to specific categories such as any woman or child, victims of human trafficking, persons in custody, regardless of their nationality. एबे human traffic है कि जदि बांग्लादेश रो जने आसची एठिकी ट्रैफिक करी कि some गुंडा in India traffics women from Bangladesh or Nepal or anyone. तो सी जदि आसिला जदि से पुलिस को कंप्लेन कला पुलिस कौन कहबो नहीं आमे तुमको लीगल एड दबुनी बिकॉज तुम आम कंट्री को बिलोंग करनो नो जस्ट थिंक एमती लॉजिकली भाभी की भी अपन बाहर करि परिबे सॉल्यूशन कौन है परिबो यार. ओके सो दिस स्टेटमेंट इज आल्सो रॉन्ग. सो दिस इज करेक्ट द आंसर इज 2 and 3 again. Cool. Next question. Which of the following dates was identified in the IR Coelho versus State of Tamil Nadu judgment as the threshold after which laws placed in the 9th schedule can be subjected to judicial review for violation of basic structure doctrine? The answer here is April 24, 1973. सब जगह पाखापाखी confusing dates पके दिली मैंने just to test your knowledge. You already know this history. Last test भी discuss हेतला 9th schedule. This is first amendment. Okay, 9th schedule 31B. Okay, and 9th schedule रे कौन पाई हमें रखुचे बिकॉज 9th schedule रे हमें कहूचे कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट ए जहाँ भी हमें लॉ आणलु जदि हमें ताको 9th schedule रे रखी देलु सुप्रीम कोर्ट ताको रिव्यू करि परिबोनी इट बिकम्स बियॉन्ड द पर्व्यू ऑफ सुप्रीम कोर्ट. बट केशवानंद भारती रे the Supreme Court said judicial review is a integrate basic part of the constitution, so you cannot hide under the garb of 9th schedule. Okay. And then IR Coelho again the court said कि नहीं जहाँ भी April 24, 1973 पर जितना भी laws आनी चंती government any government state government हो central government हो we can at any time we can open them up and we can review them. This was actually the date of the Keshwananda Bharati case. Okay, सो सुप्रीम कोर्ट से ठीक अच्छे या पूर्व जहाँ भी अच्छी आम ताकू टच करूनी बिकज तुम मैंने गोटे आनी एमेंडमेंट रे एंड सेटा आम रेस्पेक्ट करूँ बट तापर जहाँ भी केस अच्छी 90s रे हो 80s रे हो इवन लेट 70s रे हो जदि दरकार पड़ला वी कैन ओपन इट एंड सी इफ इट इज कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनली वैलिड. सो दिस इज अ फैक्चुअल क्वेश्चन, इजी क्वेश्चन. April 24, 1973. One of the constitutional amendments statement of objects and reasons read, this addition was meant to make the directive principles more comprehensive and give them precedence over those fundamental rights which have been allowed to be relied upon to frustrate socio-economic reforms. See, this is, we are talking about the 42nd amendment. Okay. 25th amendment रे they brought 31C. 31C रे से मैंने कहले कि article 39B and 39C even though they are DPSP they will have precedence over article 14, 19 and 21 even though they are fundamental rights. माने माने non justiciable है कि भी we will give them precedence. Supreme Court said okay, social justice पाई आम country जो आड़ू जाऊची social justice पाई nationalization of banks, industries, abolition of privy purse, all those aspects पाई you need to give 39B and 39C. एटा मु लास्ट टेस्ट रे बहुत भल से डिस्कस करछि, सो प्लीज वॉच इट बिकॉज बार बार आम सेम जिनस डिस्कस कले वी आर लूजिंग टाइम एनीवे. इट्स ऑलरेडी अराउंड 45 मिनट्स वीडियो हो गलानी एंड वी आर जस्ट अराउंड द 20th क्वेश्चन. ओके, सो 39B and 39C को precedence दिलो, that is 25th amendment by the way, that was 25th amendment. It's not the answer to this question, this was 25th amendment. Okay, but Indira Gandhi got very encouraged with this कि अरे जदि सुप्रीम कोर्ट आप किसी कहलानी ताले मु सबू DPSPs को एमती कहदेवी मु सोशल जस्टिस करने फंडामेंटल राइट लोकंकर धजिया उड़े देवा आम सोशल जस्टिस करवा एंड अंडर द गार्ब ऑफ सोशल जस्टिस विल डू वट एवर वी फील लाइक. सो दे ब्रॉट द 42nd amendment and said all DPSPs, all DPSPs को दे दबा precedence over fundamental rights. Now this answer here is none of the above and this was later overturned in the Minerva Mills case. Okay, I have discussed this in much more detail. Pura diagram bane ki bujhe in the next previous test. Do watch it. Okay, the answer is 42nd amendment and so it's none of the above. Okay, through the factual research which I think you should take note of. Yeah, so giving precedence to directive principles, 42nd amendment eya kala chalo मान लिया. Making principles more comprehensive, for this they brought 3 new amendments. एटा टिके मन रखिबे because they are asking constitutional amendments को constitutional amendment रे को article add हेतला, ठीक अछि. तो 43A, 48A and 39A, all these three were added through the 42nd constitutional amendment. Match the following type question, direct one liner factual question, किछ भी पचारि परिबे, be careful. 39A, equal justice and free legal aid. 43A, participation of worker in management of industries, and 48A, protection and improvement of environment. So just be a bit careful there. Tinta jinsa they had added. Again another factual question, which of the following parts are correct, following statements are correct regarding parts of the Constitution of India? Tribunals are dealt with under Article 14A of the Constitution, correct. Relationship between union and states is outlined in part 12. No, it's part 11. Elections and election commission are governed by part 16. No, it's part 15. Provisions related to official language of the republic are contained in part 17. This is correct. Now 80 solutions रे मु पूरा सब जगह पास छोड़ 80 लिस्ट दे देछि एंड आम क्वेश्चन रे जहाँ जहाँ अच्छी तार गोटे कलर कोडिंग कर देछि. दिस पार्ट 11, दिस पार्ट 12 जो सेठी मु भूल से पचारछि, that is finance, property and suits. Then tribunals ठीक पचरायछि, official language ठीक पचरायछि. Elections how special provisions for certain classes have been interchanged. So this is again color coded. You have to remember these things. Schedule 10टा schedule जो 11टा schedule जो अच्छी जितना भी जहाँ अच्छी articles important, schedule, official parts, all these aspects तो अपन को मन रखिया पड़ेगा कोठी कौन अच्छी. These are all facts that they generally test. Okay. With reference to, so the answer here is 1 and 4 only. Okay. With reference to Chief Election Commissioner and other Election Commissioners Act 2023, consider the following statement. It last year बहुत ही controversial थिला because of some provisions in them कि how will this impact the independence of Election Commission, but it has passed as an act. Supreme Court hasn't said anything, so as of now it stands. I beg your pardon. Removal of election commissioners requires the recommendation of the chief election commissioner. Yes, this is correct. Chief election commissioner can be only be removed after chief election commissioner recommends it. ठीक अछि. Election commissioners can resign by writing to the chief election commissioner. No, by writing to the president. All of them, CEC and the EC, both can resign only by writing to the president. If an election commissioner is subsequently appointed as the chief election commissioner, their total combined tenure in both roles can exceed 6 years. Can exceed. Eta likha hai. This is correct. This is wrong. It cannot exceed. Okay. 65 years or 6 years, whichever is earlier. Bas eya. तो जदि तमें 4 वर्ष इसी रही सारच एंड तापरे सीईसी को प्रमोट होगी जाऊच ताले नेक्स्ट 2 इयर्स पाई ही तमें रही पारिबो ताठू बेसी तमें रही पारिबोनी. ठीक अछि. मैक्सिमम 6 years. So this is incorrect. This is incorrect. How many of the statements are incorrect has been asked. The answer is only 2. But मु आउरी बहुत सारा facts ए क्वेश्चन रे एठी ऐड करिछि just to make the picture clear to you. Statement 1 is correct. Chief election commissioner can be removed only in the same manner as Supreme Court judge, and other ECs can be removed by the president only on the recommendation of the CEC. Chief election commissioner is being removed in the same manner as Supreme Court judge. What is the manner? If you know, Article 124 Kochi, proven misbehavior or incapacity. Okay, and then ये जो proven misbehavior prove किए करिवो से proof टा आसीबो Judges Inquiry Act 1968. Okay, exactly a procedure रही CEC को भी remove करियार अछि, Chief Election Commissioner को भी remove करियार अछि. Okay, but other ECs can simply be removed by the president यदि CEC कहला कि इसको निकालो. Okay, under the act both the CEC commissioner and election commissioner must resignation to the president. Eta tame सब कथा हेले overall cannot be more than 6 years. Done. Other provisions of the act. Okay, so first जो start होची, the process is getting started by the search committee. Search committee is headed by Union Minister for Law and Justice. He is tasked with preparing a panel of 5 suitable candidates for the post. See, A to be start हेगला why independence of election commissioner cannot be A. Okay, जो 5टा लोगों से सिलेक्ट करिवो से तो सेमतिया 5टा लोग को सिलेक्ट करिवो जे रूलिंग गवर्नमेंट पाई अलगा अलगा स्टेट रे भलो काम करछंती या भलो चापलूसी करछंती या भलो चमचागिरी करछंती. तो विल ही बी न्यूट्रल व्हेन ही बिकम्स द सीईसी और विल शी बी न्यूट्रल व्हेन शी बिकम्स द सीईसी? दैट्स अ वेरी बिग क्वेश्चन मार्क बिकॉज इट यूनियन मिनिस्ट्री सिलेक्ट कला. नंबर 1. नंबर 2, selection committee. The final recommendation for appointment is made by 3-member selection committee where one is the PM, the other is the union cabinet minister, and the other is a leader of opposition in the Lok Sabha or the leader of the single largest opposition party. Again, ethi always 2-1 gote outvote habo ei lokota bichara se kaim ki bi achhi setire mane ta upare daya laguche. They will always outvote him. And again the जो final recommendation टा हबो से एमितिया लोक को ही देबे जे सरकार रो सब बेले सर 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 होतबो से आउ कुरेशी बेले एकदम ये तो हेबे नहीं हाउ डू आई से इट इंडिपेंडेंट विल स्ट्रॉन्ग विल वाला तो हेबे नहीं. ओके, सो this is where the whole debate was, but as of now it stands. Okay, to be eligible for appointment as CEC or EC, a person must be holding or have held a post equivalent to the rank of secretary to the government of India, integrity, possess knowledge and experience in management and conduct of elections. Salary and service will be the same as those of cabinet secretary. Legal immunity for anything done under their position. So all these are some other facts. But independence jinsota ko mon rakhthi because this is also relevant for mains. Okay, jinsota debate ta you should know, you should remember. Which of the following cases held that preamble is not a part of the Constitution of India? The answer is Berubari Union case. Very straightforward. Berubari Union case रे Supreme Court कहला कि the court opined that while the preamble serves as a key to open the minds of the makers. चलो मान लिया because जो सब words use ହେଇची सेटा हमको देखौची कि constituent assembly रो forefathers माने तांकर को बलिया foresight थिला तांकर को बलिया thinking थिला. चलो मान लिया. but it is not a source of substantive power and therefore cannot be considered part of the main text. This was first in the Berubari Union case. Berubari Union, India, Pakistan, some India and East Pakistan लैंड बाउंड्री अग्रीमेंट गोटे माने लैंड बाउंड्री को नहीं कि किसी इश्यूज थिला ठीक अच्छे यू कैन रीड द स्टोरी जस्ट गो टू द नेट केशवानंद भारती वर्सेस स्टेट ऑफ केरला रे सुप्रीम कोर्ट उल्टा कला कहला इन दिस लैंडमार्क जजमेंट held that no, preamble is an integral part of the constitution. It is not enforceable. People cannot say कि देखो preamble में ये लिखा है और मेरे साथ ये हुआ है तो प्लीज आप इन पे केस करो. No, फंडामेंटल राइट्स पे ही सिर्फ केस हो सकता है, डीपीएसपीस पे नहीं हो सकता, प्रियम्बल में नहीं हो सकता, राइट केस सिर्फ फंडामेंटल राइट्स पे हो सकता है, बट इट इज एन इंटीग्रल पार्ट ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. ओके ओके सो दिस इज बेरोबारी यूनियन केस. अगेन यूडीएचआर तांकर फेवरेट ओपीएससी रो somehow UDHR is very favorite. So this is a new type of question that I have devised. Which of the following mentioned in UDHR have not been adopted as fundamental rights under the Constitution of India? Many out of the 30 UDHR articles in total, many have been taken as fundamental right to equality, right to life and all those aspects, but there are many जो तरह की इंडिया रे निया है ही नहीं. Can you identify them? Let's see. Right to social security, right to work, right to adequate standard of living, right to seek asylum from persecution. At the first itself, I can eliminate 4 because empty kichi nahi. The answer is, oh sorry, not pacharahi chipa. My bad. Mu nije bhul kar deli. Okay, so I can 8 or 4 to hobo hi hobo. So one A has been eliminated. Right to work is a DPSP. Article 39, I guess. Take a check kar daba. और आर्टिकल 41 में भी ठीक है देख दो. Yes, right to work, education and to public assistance in certain cases. This is DPSP. This is not a fundamental right. Question is have not been adopted as fundamental right. So right to work bhi habo. Right to adequate standard of living. This is 43. The living wage. The state shall endeavor to secure all workers a living wage and conditions of work ensuring a decent standard of life and full enjoyment of leisure and social and cultural opportunities. So this is again a DPSP, not a fundamental right. And the first one is right to social security, जोड़ा कि state to secure a social order for promotion of welfare of people. मैं 38 रो reading रे आसुची somehow. ठीक है. So all these are DPSPs and the fourth one is not present anywhere in our constitution. Right to seek asylum from persecution is simply not present. So the answer is 1, 2, 3, 4. Like I said, एमती कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन को रिफर करी पढ़िले यू विल ऑलवेज हैव दैट क्लैरिटी. ओके नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. कंसिडर द फॉलोइंग आर्टिकल्स ऑफ द इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. आर्टिकल 13, 32, 131, 226, 254. Which of the above articles have judicial review implicit in them? Okay, now this is an interesting question. Judicial review implicit in them माने ताकू पढ़ी कि you can refer that there are elements of judicial review in this because nowhere in the constitution does judicial review word appear. Okay, एटा आमे infer करूचे, एटा आमे interpret करूचे केतरा जिंसो को देखिकी. आसंदो देखे भी आपन को बहुत बढ़िया interesting question एटा. I'll just show you how this thing is done. Okay, how Supreme Court gets its power, how High Court gets its power. एक तो आपण जानछंती फॉर एग्जांपल आर्टिकल 13 गोटे ऑप्शन अछि. All laws in force in the territory of India immediately before the commencement of the constitution insofar as they are consistent with the provisions of this part to the extent of such inconsistency be void. ठीक अच्छे से कहे कि इमिडिएटली बिफोर द कमेंसमेंट ऑफ दिस कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन माने 1950 रे स्टार्ट हवा पूर्वरु 1949 नवेम्बर 26 स्टार्ट हवा पूर्वरु जहाँ भी सब थिला दे ऑल विल बी इनकंसिस्टेंट इफ दे ऑल विल बी void if they are not consistent with this. ठीक अच्छे चलो मान लिया बट किए डिसाइड करूची दे ऑल विल बी void. ओके एटा किए डिसाइड करूची एटा कोर्ट डिसाइड करूची. हेंस वी कैन नो दैट एटी किछि गोटे एलिमेंट अछि जोटी कि कोर्ट जुडिशियल रिव्यू एलिमेंट एटी आसुची. ओके नेक्स्ट. द स्टेट शैल नॉट मेक एनी लॉ व्हिच टेक्स अवे और abridges the rights conferred by this part and any law made in the contravention of this clause to the extent of contravention be void. तो स्टेट को कहला एटा गोटे नेगेटिवली वर्डेड shall not make एमती किछि तमे लॉ बनै परिबनी जोटा कि लोकंकर फंडामेंटल राइट्स को नबो आ जदी एमती किछि लॉ तमे बनैलो law made in the contravention of this clause to the extent of this contravention be void ame that will be void but kiye decide करूची एटा बना हैला ना नै एटा लेखा हेनी एटा को इंटरप्रेट करियार अछि hence the question implicit in them which of the following have judicial review implicit in them so this is implicit judicial review eti implicit achi okay 32 remedies for enforcement the right to move the supreme court by appropriate proceedings for enforcement of rights conferred by this part is guaranteed okay again right to move supreme court again judicial review directly lekha hai ni but ame supreme court pakhu jai periya lekha hai chi so that is implicit 131 let's see 131 original jurisdiction of the supreme court any tussle or friction between government of india or one or more states government of india or any two states or between two or more states the supreme court shall have the original jurisdiction supreme court decide karibo ki taku kemti solve kariyar achi again judicial review implicit okay 226 सेम जहाँ 32 सुप्रीम कोर्ट पाइन थिला सेम फॉर हाई कोर्ट implicit ए सब तो आपन अंडरस्टूड 254 now this is interesting okay 254 is very interesting 254 कोन कोची एठी गोटे वर्ड अछि concurrent list हैला 250 concurrent list रे you know both state and center can make the laws ठीक अछि एइथरे लिखा अछि if any provision of a law made by the legislature of a state is repugnant to any provision of a law made by parliament माने गोटे concurrent list रो गोटे एमती provision अछि जो जोथरे कि parliament कोची A but state government कोची B ठीक है but if B is repugnant to A माने B somehow contradicts A or B somehow doesn't follow the principles of A or A is somehow not the anchor for B okay मैंने से पूरा समथिंग ड्रास्टिकली ऑपोजिट कोची ड्रामेटिकली गोटे अलग जिनस कोची जोड़ा कि सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट या फिर पार्लियामेंट कोची ओके ताले से जिनसटा विल बी void okay this is what the ये is if any provision is repugnant to any provision of any law made by the parliament the law made by the parliament shall prevail ठीक अछि मझी मझी वर्ड्स गुड़ा स्किप कर दोछि बिकॉज बहुत सारा यूजलेस वर्ड्स भी अछि द लॉ मेड बाय द पार्लियामेंट will shall prevail and law made by the legislature of the state to the extent of repugnancy be void okay तो again ये जो repugnancy किए decide करिवो void करियार अछि किए decide करिवो okay is repugnant to any provision of a law who will decide what is this repugnancy the supreme court or the courts okay and hence एथि भी judicial review implicit अछि so this is the whole thought process behind making this question एटा तो समझते I think नौ बुझी की भी चारटा टिक मार देबे I'm pretty sure not many have this sort of understanding but they know 19-20 and this is enough but 254 is where I wanted to test you okay answer is 1 2 3 4 5 I hope you enjoyed that because for reading the constitution is one of the best things that you can train yourself in okay moving on to question number 26 which of the following provisions when enacted by the parliament are not deemed to be amendments of the constitution under article 368 so you all know amending the constitution has like 3 to 4 three methods one is simple majority जोटा ordinary law भलिया पास हे परिबो okay 2 is special majority article 368 रो procedure जोटी follow होबो half of total membership 2/3 of members present and voting and third is special plus half the states रो ratification तांको निजो legislature रे state legislative assembly रे okay एठी पचारची which of the following are not deemed to be amendments under the constitution so number one is it is asking formation of new states and alteration of areas boundaries or names of existing states okay let me show you this is article 3 we are talking about okay so article 3 ko jodi ame jiba yeah here formation of new states या पचराई फॉर्मेशन ऑफ न्यू स्टेट्स अल्टरेशन ऑफ बाउंड्रीज ये सब ये कवर्ड अच्छी बट देन देखो आर्टिकल 4 रे इट इज स्ट्रेट अवे मेंशन्ड no such law as aforesaid shall be deemed to be an amendment of the constitution for the purposes of article 368. So statement 1 is wrong. Okay. Next, abolition or creation of council in states, legislative council in states, jo state legislative council. This again is article 169. Okay, abolition or creation of legislative councils. Parliament may by law provide for abolition of this, whatever. But it again likha hai no such law shall be deemed to be an amendment of this constitution for article 368. Okay. So parliament simple majority re aram se ko state ko legislative council dorkar na dorkar, it's all up to the parliament. Although states can request the parliament ki amu gote dorkar. Okay. So we have this statement, these two options. I mean, since not deemed pacharahechi, then this option is correct. This option is correct. Delimitation of constituencies for parliamentary and assembly elections. This again is correct. Article 89, I guess. Yes. Parliament may by law from time to time indulge in delimitation exercise, a population, a census, etc. etc. Constitutional amendment habara nahi. So this is also correct. Then amendment to the concurrent list in the 7th schedule. Now 7th schedule is a federal feature. Okay. So federal feature ଯେତେବେଳେ ଆସି ଯାଉଛି ତ ଏଇଠି ଏଇ ଯୋଉ half the states ratification ଜିନିଷଟା apply ହବ and ଏଇଟା again କୋଉଠି ଲେଖା ହେଇଛି ଏଇଟା 368 ରେ ହିଁ ଲେଖା ହେଇଛି. Okay. Yeah, got it. So this is 368, article 368, provided that if such amendment seeks to make any change in any of the lists in the 7th schedule, okay, so then amendment shall also required to be ratified by legislatures of not less than 1/2 of the states. So this is where it is coming from. So this statement becomes wrong in our yeah, because it is deemed to be an amendment under 368. Okay. Establishment and regulation of the GST Council. This is again wrong. Why? Because GST Council is a constitutional body. Article 279A. तो जदि किसी कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन रे ही जो जिनसटा लिखा है जदि ताकू ही तमे चेंज करिया को जाउछ तो यू हैव टू गो थ्रू आर्टिकल 368. ओके, बिकॉज इट इज डायरेक्टली रिटन इन द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. So this also requires a constitutional amendment under 368 and hence our answer is 1, 2 and 3. You do know, right? This is 279A. This is 279A. My god, 279A. Yeah, Goods and Services Tax Council. This is a constitutional body. So constitutional body को तमे simple जदि किसी जिनसो change करिया को जाउछ ताको simple majority रे you cannot change. Okay. So that was this question. 368. I hope your concepts are getting clear. Consider the following statements in respect of fundamental rights during an emergency. Okay. The enforcement of all fundamental rights may be suspended. No. 20 and 21 can never be suspended. Even though president can pass an executive order कि तमरो सबू fundamental rights हमें नहीं जाउछु, but constitution bars them that no, you cannot take this right, enforcement of article 20 and 21. माने तम freedom of speech हैला, you cannot go to the court. Right to equality जदि hamper हैला, you cannot go to the court. But जदि right to life and arrest in conviction of offences ए दीटा जिनस जदि hamper हैला, you can always go to the court. ए जिनस cannot be. This is article 359. So this statement is wrong. There is provision for moving to court for enforcement of fundamental rights. Yes, basically age insertai 20 and 21. Right to protection in respect of conviction for offences cannot be suspended. Again, this 20 and 21 वाला जिनसटाई तो सेम जिनस को मु कंफ्यूज करे टिके कंफ्यूज करिया पई अलग अलग वेज रे पचारिछि एंड अगेन बहुत पिला कंफ्यूज है कि एठी भी भूल कर दैछंती. सो क्वेश्चन टा को टिके भल से पढिबा इज इंपोर्टेंट. ओके, statement 1 is incorrect while statements 2 and 3 are correct. During a national emergency, the president may issue an order under Article 359 to suspend the right to move any court, okay, but the power is not absolute. 44th constitutional amendment akre kuhagala ki 21 and 20 cannot be suspended. Then after this, yeah, so this is basically it. Ao ethre kichi nahi, say same jinso ko I have just asked to make sure that your concepts are clear. आजिकल से मैंने फॉर सम रीजन एई जिनस गुड़ा पचारुछंती को लिस्ट रे को सब्जेक्ट्स अछि, सो प्लीज मेजर सब्जेक्ट्स टिके देखि देथिबे को लिस्ट रे अछंती, ओके टिके हिस्ट्री भी जानिया पड़िबो एठी. सो एजुकेशन कनकरेंट इज करेक्ट. दिस वाज डन इन द 42nd amendment. इट आगुरु स्टेट लिस्ट रे थिला बट दे ब्रॉट इट to the concurrent list in the 42nd amendment. Marriage and divorce is again concurrent, it's not state, okay. And insurance is union. The question was how many of the above pairs are correctly matched. The answer is only 2. But here we should talk about this 42nd amendment. 42nd amendment re pasta subject were moved from the state list to the concurrent list, okay. Indira Gandhi, okay, and she wanted more powers for the parliament, for the center. So one was education, like I said, another was forests, another was wildlife and biodiversity, okay, another was administration of justice. This is unique. Mane control, not control, or organization of courts other than Supreme Court and High Court, okay. Administration of justice मैंने लोअर कोर्ट्स वगैरह जो जहाँ भी रूल्स रेगुलेशंस आगुरु ओनली स्टेट्स पाखे थिला, बट इवेंचुअली कनकरेंट पाखु जेतेबेले आसीगला, सो गवर्नमेंट सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट भी किछि किछि करि पारिबो, ओके. देन 5 you have to tell me what is here. Comment section में, if you are watching this video until the 28th question, I know many of you will not, but if you are still watching, tell me what is the 5th one, okay. Okay, so this is only 2. Which of the following articles of the Constitution of India empowers the Parliament? Acha, purba question re ei ju mu koili 42nd re it was moved to the concurrent list. So you do realize that ethi ame jo ebe kohuthile amendment to the concurrent list in the 7th schedule. So this must have been done under Article 368 along with ratification of half the states, right? सांगे सांग देखो तो गोटे तार यूसेज बाहरी गला. आउ सेतेबेले रैटिफिकेशन पाइबा काई की इजी थिला बिकॉज मोस्ट स्टेट्स रे कांग्रेस ही थिला एंड सेंटर रे भी कांग्रेस ही थिला. सो बेसिकली हाफ द स्टेट्स वेर इट वाज मोर देन comfortable to get the ratification from half the states. Nobody just objected, okay. Which one of the following articles of the Indian Constitution empowers the Parliament to modify the rights conferred by Part 3 in their application to the armed forces? Answer is Article 33. ये सब तो जिन सब आपनो direct Constitution देखिए आई better. I'll say something might not make sense to you. Article 33. Power of Parliament to modify rights conferred by this part in their application to the forces. This is what the question was. Members of the armed forces, forces charged with maintenance of public order, persons employed in intelligence bureau, okay, persons employed in telecommunication system, everything. All these aspects are coming under this. काहेकि तांकर चेंज करि परिबो फंडामेंटल राइट्स बिकॉज दे हैव access to some secrets of the nation जोड़ा कि जदि से तांको free speech under रे जदि आसी कि बकिया start कले then India's security will be compromised. So all these aspects to तांकर fundamental rights will be separate from us. तांको phone tap web से मन जदि चाहिले करि परिबे जोड़ा कि हमरो केस रे it's not that easy, okay. Okay, this is for question number 29. Next is 30. India follows the principle of collective responsibility of the Council of Ministers to the Lok Sabha. This is an easy question. Yes, this is a parliamentary principle, collective responsibility of Council of Ministers to the Lok Sabha. President of India can dismiss the Council of Ministers at his own discretion. No, This is wrong. So A is true, R is false. I really don't think I need to get into the details of this. This was one of the easier questions. Like I said, OPSC भी freebies दिए, ମୁଁ भी एमती freebies कितना दिए, so that people can solve these questions. Okay. Consider the following statements about Panchayati Raj system in Odisha. The Sarpanch of a Gram Panchayat is directly elected by the electors of the Gram Shashan. This is correct. Okay. Nothing. Direct elections, Gram Panchayat, Sarpanch, ଯେମିତି MP, MLA ସବୁ ଚୁଜ୍ ହୁଅନ୍ତି ସେମିତି ସରପଞ୍ଚ ବି ଚୁଜ୍ ହୁଏ ସେଇ ଗାଁର ଇଲେକ୍ଟୋରାଲ ରୋଲ୍ ବାହାରିବ vote habo, sarpanch select habo. State of Odisha provides 50% reservation of seats for women in its Panchayati Raj reservation. Yes. Constitution kauchi minimum 33%, but Odisha is one of the few states jodi 50% reservation achi. Correct. Panchayat Samiti, the intermediate tier of the Panchayati Raj system in Odisha, functions at the district level. No. Intermediate kuha hauchi, puni district kuha hauchi. No, this is block level. Okay. Easy question. So 3 is wrong. 1 and 2 are correct. Okay. Okay. This is done. Then which of the following districts of Odisha are included in Niti Ayog's aspirational districts program? Okay. The answer is I think 1, 3, 5. Yes, 1, 3 and 5. Ganjam and Mayurbhanj are not there in the list. Yes. Ganjam and Mayurbhanj aren't there. Aspirational Districts Program, you know, Niti Ayog 2018 to uplift 112 districts, underdeveloped districts. Ei ju 5ta parameter, ei sobu jinso tike mon rakhiବାକୁ ପଡ଼ିବ. Factual jinso, health and nutrition, education, agriculture, financial inclusion, infrastructure. So they can ask, say 8 gote 6th, confuse କରିବା ପାଇଁ gote 6th ଦେଇଦେବେ law and order. Okay. Or gote 6th ଦେଇଦେବେ something like say delivery of justice. Okay. And then they'll ask you which of the above are correct. 1, 2, 4 and 6, 3, 4, 5 and 6. तो टिके exact A5 को आपन को मन रखिबार अछि. Okay. 3 C's. ए जो जिनसटा again. 3 C's, convergence, collaboration and competition. Even this is important. And I'll tell you why. Because I think last year they asked a question, India-Australia relations are based on 3 C's. What is the full form of each of those C's? Okay. So the options were something, 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 but the answer was Commonwealth, cricket and curry. ठीक ଅଛି. So since this is directly from the official website, from the official document of this scheme, हुए तो सेमाने 3 C's ର full form पचारिबे and आपनों सबु confuse करियागु they'll say something else. Convergence, collaboration, competition. So they'll give 1 C for cooperation, which would be wrong. Okay. And again they can design more words with C जोटा कि same simple माने same हेथिबो ये meaning but actually नथिबो तो टिके एई सबु जिंसरो भी you have to take care. The reference is 3 C's question, India Australia. Okay. Cricket, curry and Commonwealth 2022 question. Just go and look it up. 12 districts from Odisha are Balangir, Dhenkanal. 8 ତିନିଟା ମୁଁ ଅପସନରେ ପଚାରିଛି ଗଜପତି, କୋରାପୁଟ, ମାଲକାନଗିରି, ନବରଙ୍ଗପୁର, ନୂଆପଡ଼ା, ରାୟଗଡ଼ା, କଳାହାଣ୍ଡି, କନ୍ଧମାଳ. Mayurbhanj and Ganjam are not there. So the answer is 1, 3 and 5. The governor of Odisha can reserve certain bills passed by the state legislature for the consideration of the President of India. That is correct. Okay. And this is actually coming from the reason under Article 200, the governor has the right power to reserve bills that may conflict with central laws or deal with matters beyond the state legislature's competence. Yes, Article 200 रे लिखा ହେଇଛି that governor चारटा जिंस करि परिबो or maybe तीनटा जिंस करि परिबो. 1, withhold the assent. Okay, रही गला ता पाखरे. 2, send it back to the legislature. 3, reserve it for president. Okay. And 4, of course, pass it, give his assent. So 4 things he can do. All this is his discretionary power, and these all are his veto powers. So veto powers bhitre esabu asuchi. So answer is yes, this explains this. Since Article 200 re lekha heichi, hence Governor of Odisha can reserve certain bills passed by the state legislature for consideration of President of India. Assertion reasoning question. Okay. Which of the following constitutional amendments restored the power of state governments to identify and notify socially and educationally backward classes independently of the central list? The answer is 105th Amendment. କ'ଣ ହେଇଥିଲା 102nd Amendment ରେ ଯେତେବେଳେ NCBC କୁ constitutional status ଦିଆହେଲା, okay, NCBC was given the constitutional status and President was asked to come up with a central list of SEBC castes, okay, socially and educationally backward castes. This happened in 2021, I guess. Okay. Now, apare there was this Maratha reservation issue, okay. Sethere Supreme Court said because 102nd Constitution Amendment says President has the power to bring a central list, so states have lost that power to bring a state list of SEBC castes. ठीक अछि. तो SC interpreted this very strictly. Strict interpretation. And of course, all the state governments went gung ho because tanko vote bank politics is all about, you know, giving reservations and tanko impress kariki rakhiba ei jo sabu caste vote bank politics, all those aspects we are not going to delve into that. So Parliament again what they did, Parliament said acha thik achi, sorry for this confusion Supreme Court, ame ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ 105th amendment ଆଣିଲୁ ଯୋଉଥିରେ କି NCBC constitutional status, okay. NCBC is by the way National Commission for Backward Classes, okay. NCBC constitutional status, okay. President can bring his own list, okay, but states can also bring their state list. ठीक अछि. सेंट्रल लिस्ट तो ठीक अच्छी, बट जहाँ भी स्टेट गवर्नमेंट एग्जाम, स्टेट गवर्नमेंट एजुकेशन ये सब जहाँ भी रहिबो, states can also do that. So which of the following constitutional amendments restored the power of state governments to identify and notify SEBCs? The answer is 105th Amendment, but it is connected directly to 102nd Amendment. Okay, टिक्किया को लिखे दबा, and we'll just quickly go through what are the other amendments in the question that I have asked. 100th Amendment is about land boundary agreement, India and Bangladesh. 101st Amendment is GST. 99th Amendment was NJAC, National Judicial Appointments Commission, जो थे कि सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट कहला कि मु भी सिलेक्ट करी कि को सुप्रीम कोर्ट जज जाएंगे सिलेक्ट हबो एज अ ये on the bench, okay. And the Supreme Court said no, independence of judiciary is part of the basic structure, we cannot allow that. So it was struck down by the Supreme Court, okay. So 99th Amendment basically is a dead letter. It doesn't exist. Answer is 105th. In the context of independent India, which of the following were formally constituted as union territories before becoming full-fledged states? Is the question. Okay. Assam was always a state. Assam always a state before independence. Okay. It was a part A state. Part A, part B, corner. I'll just tell you in some time. So it one is already eliminated. Answer is 2, 3, 4. Okay. Meghalaya was also a state, was also given a state status. Himachal Pradesh, Arunachal, Meghalaya were all union territories before they became states. Let's just look at the exact dates of when these things are happening. Okay. So at the time of independence, Assam was a full-fledged province. So this is incorrect. Meghalaya was carved out of Assam. It was first granted autonomous state in 1969 and then became a full-fledged state in 1972. Hence, Meghalaya is also incorrect. Himachal Pradesh, initially a chief commissioner province, then a part C state and was constituted to a union territory, given status on January 25, 1971. Manipur was also a part C state, was later made a union territory. It was elevated to the status of full-fledged, again January 21, 1972. Arunachal Pradesh, NEFA, taku agaru NEFA kahuthile, union territory in 1972, statehood in 1987. Now, just in brief, let me tell you what are these Part A, Part B, Part C, Part D states. So, after independence, for the sake of governance, the Constituent Assembly, decided ki the Parliament basically with Constituent Assembly, which later became the Parliament, basically decided ki ame states division Part A, B, C, D. Okay, एमती करवा ए जो ब्रिटिश जिबा पूर्व भी जो माने स्टेट्स थिला इलेक्शंस होतला लेजिस्लेटिव बॉडी थिला स्टेट लेजिस्लेटिव असेंबली थिला दोज विल बी ए स्टेट्स ओके सो एथरे सब ए असम Bengal and all those states are coming. I think there were 9 Part A states. Okay. Part B, former princely kingdoms, but important big princely kingdoms. जो Raja Maharaja had some status. Okay. So एठी आस जाउथिला Hyderabad, Mysore, etc. I think total 8. So एठी तो elections वगैरह होथिले एठी जोने राज प्रमुख थिला appointed by the president. He used to be the leader. Like say time रो तांको पाई गोटे chief minister भलिया लोक, but he was called Raj Pramukh. Okay. D is the only one and only. My bad. Raj Pramukh is for this one, huh? For Hyderabad. मुझे C सामने लिख दिल बोली confuse हो गई. Raj Pramukh. Okay. C was ए जो जिनसड़ा Chief Commissioners Province रो continuation. Okay. ताकू कंटिन्यू कले से माने कि केतेटा जगह रे प्रेसिडेंट रो ही निजरो एजेंट जाई कि बसिबो सेठी इलेक्शन फिलेक्शन दरकार नै सेठी लेजिस्लेटिव असेंबली दरकार नै सो आगुरु जो हाकू चीफ कमिश्नर्स प्रोविंस कोथले ताकू तापरे लेटर दे वर कॉल्ड पार्ट सी स्टेट्स ओके एथरे ही सब जो मणिपुर अरुणाचल मेघालय सॉरी हिमाचल मणिपुर अरुणाचल ए माने सब आस्तले दिस वेर 10 such states. And then D रे there was only one Andaman and Nicobar जोटी कि अगेन जाइए तांकर प्रेसिडेंट रो एजेंट जाइए लीड करथुला ऑर्गेनाइज करथुला सो दिस वाज पार्ट A B C D A where pretty good democracy was already established elections legislative assemblies leaders B Raj Pramukhs former princely state Raj Pramukhs C आज का मॉडर्न डे रे जहाँ को हमें यूनियन टेरिटरीज कोचे दोज वर बेसिकली पार्ट सी and D is one and only Andaman and Nicobar. So this can be actually a standalone question. Which was the only entity in this list of Part D states post independence? Okay. So this is actually a question. The answer is Andaman and Nicobar. And then later you had the States Reorganization Act 1956 जोठी कि this structure was done away with okay part A B C D आउ सेमती किछि रहिलानी and we got the modern states ठीक अछि तापरे अगेन स्टेट रिऑर्गेनाइजेशन रे बॉम्बे भांगिला गुजरात महाराष्ट्र हेला मद्रास भांगिला and all those upper states Madhya Pradesh central provinces all these dhire dhire they got their latest structures but this was the history part A B C D okay so this was a brief history about this one so that I think completes polity yes apare sidha geography start hochi so let's now move to geography so the first question here is island nations like Japan and Philippines are the result of what kind of plate movement or plate interaction? Both of them are present in the Pacific Ring of Fire, okay, Pacific Ocean. Frequent volcanic activity and earthquakes is a characteristic feature of this region because of movement, collision of the Pacific plate with others, okay, convergence. There are 3 types of movement, divergence, convergence and slipping past each other, transform. So the answer here is oceanic convergence. The diagram जदि आपण देखिबे this is one plate sinking जेते बेले दीटा plate आसे कि माडो हेबे one of them will start sliding down because of being highly dense more density than this plate okay तो सी तळु को जिबा start करबो so this goes down because of higher density. Okay, and then এইটি जो melting হব, এই जो rocks ର melting হব because high pressure and temperature of the asthenosphere. Okay, এই जो melting হব, this melting will come to the surface as volcano, as magma. So first ତ ଖାଲି sea ର floor को cover କରିବ, but over millions of years ସେଇ ତାରି ଉପରେ ଆହୁରି magma ଚଢ଼ି 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 ସେ finally will come to the surface and will form islands like Japan and Philippines. Okay, so island nations like Japan and Philippines are classic examples of volcanic island arcs. First is subduction. When two oceanic plates converge or move towards each other, one of the plates is forced to sink beneath the other into the Earth's mantle. This is because of higher density. Okay. Magma generation. Subducting plate descends. Intense heat and pressure cause it to melt and release water. This process lowers the melting point of the overlying mantle wedge, generating magma. Volcanic eruption. The newly formed magma is less dense than the surrounding rock and will start rising to the surface. It erupts on the ocean floor and over millions of years builds up a chain of volcanoes. And then the island arc formation. Okay, so this was a simple question, factual, a conceptual and a factual question. Okay, आपन जानिया को पड़िबो को पार्ट केमती तैयारी हेज. Okay. The term furious 50s is used in climatology and geography, and it refers to what? The answer here is strong and consistent westerly winds blow between 50 degree south and 60 degree south latitudes in the southern hemisphere. Net help naba to see the figures and the diagrams. This is Google. So westerlies, if I type, okay, we'll go to images and we'll go to a world map wala image. Yes, this one. Okay, so ये जो westerlies जो तौले मिलिबो एठी, these westerlies are basically the furious 50s, roaring 40s, screaming 60s. କାହିଁକି screaming, furious, roaring କାହିଁ କୁହାଯାଉଛି? Because ଯେତେବେଳେ ଆମର ବି ଯେତେବେଳେ ବାତ୍ୟା ହୁଏ ଆପଣ ଦେଖିଥିବେ ଓଡ଼ିଶାରେ ଯେତେବେଳେ ବାତ୍ୟା ହୁଏ या फिर ବହୁତ ଜୋରେ ପବନ ଚାଲେ ଗୋଟେ ଶୁ କରିକି ଗୋଟେ ସାଉଣ୍ଡ ଆସେ. ଓକେ, ଯୋଉଟା କି ମାନେ ଇଟ୍ସ ଆକ୍ଚୁଆଲି ସ୍କେରି. ଓକେ, ସୋ those kind of winds are actually flowing in these regions because ସେଠି land ନାହିଁ. If you think about the northern hemisphere, it's land बहुत ज़्यादा ଅଛି, contiguous Eurasia, Northern America and all those aspects, but southern hemisphere रे Africa and Asia ଭିତରେ ଗୋଟେ ବହୁତ ବଡ଼ ଗ୍ୟାପ୍ ଅଛି, South America and Africa ଉପରେ ଗୋଟେ ଗ୍ୟାପ୍ ଅଛି, Australia and South America ଉପରେ ବହୁତ ବଡ଼ ଗ୍ୟାପ୍ ଅଛି. ତ these winds are not blocked by any physical infrastructure, okay, like land, and so ସେମାନେ continuously flow କରନ୍ତି. ତାଙ୍କ powerfully they are built up, ବହୁତ ज़्यादा energy, and hence जो sound ଟା ଆସେ, that sound को ନେଇକି ଏଇ जो words ଗୁଡ଼ା ତିଆରି ହେଇଛି. okay, शू करी जो पवनटा चले, furious 50s, and this is lack of land mass. Okay, roaring 40s, screaming 60s, all these aspects. This is westerlies in the southern hemisphere. Sorry for my comical explanation of how the sounds are. The Sahara Desert remains. The next question, assertion reasoning. Again, you know what to do. You have to see if these are true, and then you have to decide if this is explaining this or not. Okay, the Sahara Desert remains arid. Oops, I did not change this. My bad. Okay, the Sahara Desert remains arid primarily due to the presence of dry descending air. Yes, it a desert to tankar feature. The region lies under the influence of subtropical high pressure belt. You know, again, बहुत ही conceptual clarity दरकार ये सब region पे. So this is the equator. A2 जेहेतु equator temperatures low and temperatures high. So एठी low pressure होगा. The air will go up, the air will rise, the air will diverge. Okay, will diverge, and then at 30 degree it converges. Okay, it becomes heavy and it sinks down. So एठी cloud formation habo, ବର୍ଷା habo, all those aspects. Okay, equator से इतना पागो एमतिया, but sinking air रे cloud formation hoboni because it is warm and dry. And एठी ही देखो तो ए region रे ही अच्छी Sahara. Okay, so it is in the subtropical high pressure belt. This is STHP. This is equatorial low. This is subtropical high pressure belt. Then ethi au gote polar high pressure belt asibo, and ethi gote STHP EL, and ethi gote au gote low pressure belt achi. Okay, temperate low pressure belt. Okay, so this is what the whole concept is. Eighty jehetu cloud formation hobani, barsa hobani, hence you have features like Sahara Desert in this region, Chihuahua Desert in this region. Okay. Okay. So this actually correctly explains this, and hence both A and R are true, and R is the correct explanation of A. ठीक है, जदि मु तार पढ़ी के देखेबे आपन को, Sahara Desert is located in the region known as horse latitudes, which lies under the influence of subtropical high pressure belt. Subtropical high pressure belt is the direct cause of the phenomenon. It is defined by large-scale subsidence of air from higher altitudes. They are warm and dry, creating stable arid conditions that characterize the Sahara. That's it. That is the whole concept. Why was Hukitola Island of the Kendrapada district of Odisha recently in the news? That's because of a 19th century British warehouse जहाँकु के एबे tourism ପାଇଁ government पुणी नेइची. Okay, restoration काम सेठी चलची, so that tourism टिके हबो. This is the place, Hukitola Island, केंद्रापड़ा district. एबे तो बहुत सारा factual questions आसेबो, आ polity भलिया माने हमर पाखरे concepts and constitution linkage से सब करियार नहीं, so we just dash through the remaining half of the paper very fast. Just stick around. Which of the following statements characterize El Nino? It occurs at irregular intervals. Yes, El Nino रो आज पर्यंत causal relationships किछि माने भल से स्टडी करा है नहीं, जेतेले हुए सेतेले हुए. It's just an accepted thing कि this is an El Nino year or this is not an El Nino year. से काहेंगे होची कौन टेलीकनेक्शंस तारा माने बहुत complex phenomena, hence not understood properly. So it happens at irregular intervals. Okay, it carries warmer water. For this you have to understand what is El Nino. ठीक है. So in general, I think I'll need to explain this to you in a bit more detail. So let me use a fresh page. See, this is North America or Western. This is South America here. This is Australia here. And this is the Russian peninsula here. ठीक है. So this is the Pacific Ocean. Roughly we are talking about. ठीक है. Okay. Now equator टा एठी कोडी अछि. ठीक है. Now equator row, you know there is something called the equatorial currents. This is the northern equatorial current. This is the southern equatorial current. What do? They carry the waters to the eastern part of Australia. In general, these currents will carry water to the eastern part of Australia. ठीक है. So एठी पानी कौन कहेबे will get built up. Okay, 80 extra pani, the water is being removed from here and is being brought here. So 80 upwelling habo. Okay, माने एटा होची ओडे normal year जेते बेले 82 पानी खाली हे गला, when water is being emptied from here towards the western coast. So 80 गोटे imbalance create हला, से imbalance को full करिया पई deeper waters will rise up. Okay, and so this being cold water will have high pressure situation. Okay, and here you'll have a low pressure situation. So in general, this is a low pressure hele air will rise, air will start this thing will start diverging and then will converge here. This is a normal air walker cell. You'll have to study El Nino in great detail, but eta mu gote jodi apan already bujhichanti, this is I'm helping you revise, but 5 minutes re El Nino cannot be explained, so just bear with me, just try to understand what I'm trying to say here. Ei jo south equatorial current and north equatorial current, why are they easterlies? Because equator pakhre easterlies bohe, so easterlies, they are all easterlies, and they are pulling the water, or they are pushing the water towards the coast of in Indonesia, towards the coast of Australia. This is the in general, this is the situation here. ए देखो normal year. Equatorial winds gather warm water pool towards the west. This is the warm water pool of the west. बिकज से एपटू ताकू टाणिकी नहीं जाउछंती जो इक्वेटोरियल करेंट्स एथरे ओशनोग्राफी भी अच्छी एथरे एटमोस्फेयर एथरे क्लाइमेटोलॉजी भी अच्छी तो बिकॉज ऑफ दिस इट्स क्वाइट कॉम्प्लेक्स बट टिके माइंड जदि इफ यू पुट यू विल बी एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड ठीक अच्छे एंड एठी गोटे अपवेलिंग होची ठीक अच्छे कोल्ड वाटर अलोंग द साउथ अमेरिकन कोस्ट आउ ए जो अपवेलिंग जेहेतु कोल्ड जेहेतु माने प्रेशर सेठी लो बिकॉज एठी सबसाइड करूची एठी वर्षा हुए नी हेंस यू आल्सो हैव द अटाकामा डेजर्ट हियर सेइतपाई एठी अटाकामा डेजर्ट अच्छी ओके एवरीथिंग इज इंटरलिंक्ड इन क्लाइमेटोलॉजी ओके नाउ एल निनो ईयर रे कौन होबो एल निनो ईयर रे कौन होबो ए करेंट्स द साउथ इक्वेटोरियल करेंट इज जनरली लो अगेन फॉर डायनामिक रीजन्स फॉर रीजन्स नॉट वेल अंडरस्टूड यही सबू करेंट रो पावर कमी जीवो तो जो रेट रे पानी एमती मूव करे ऑस्ट्रेलिया पाखकू इंडोनेशिया पाखकू से रेट रे पानी मूव करिबनी एंड हेंस रिलेटिवली यू विल हैव अ वार्म वाटर पूल ऑन दिस साइड ओके and colder water on this side. So this in these years you'll get rain in the Atacama Desert. It is said that when during the El Nino year the animals in Atacama Desert dance because ବର୍ଷା हुए सेठी बहुत rarely हुए but El Nino year रे हुए because एठी warm conditions create हला एठी low pressure conditions create हला एठी convective pressure create hella and hence the air will rise, cloud formation will happen and rain will happen okay but ethi jo generally situation thae seta hue ni so you get droughts in Australia, you get forest fires in Australia okay and all those things again El Nino jogu India re barsa in general कम हुए माने these are called teleconnections कहीं के हुए कौन हुए वेरी कॉम्प्लेक्स नो नीड टू गेट इन दैट केतरा जिनस आपन घोषिबार अछि दैट्स द स्मार्ट वे टू गो अबाउट इट टेलीकनेक्शंस सो टेलीकनेक्शंस रे देखो तो एल निनो ईयर रे एठी वार्मर विंटर यूएस रे वार्मर विंटर होची एल निनो ईयर्स रे एठी ड्राउट्स हबो फॉरेस्ट फायर्स एल निनो ईयर्स रे इंडिया विल गेट लेस रेन ओके नाउ एठी जदी एते जिनस बुझले ताले हम टिके एटा भी बुझिबा कि व्हाट इज ला नीना ठीक अच्छे एल निनो एंड ला नीना दीटा जिनस अच्छी राइट सो जिते बेले these are even more stronger these winds are even more stronger okay so एठी जो warm water pull will be even more intense okay so this normal year becomes a La Nina year माने बहुत ही ज़्यादा strong winds wind जो currents okay easterly currents and so एटा होची La Nina year this is El Nino year I hope this much is clear माने बहुत ही basic sense रे कहली 5-7 minutes लगी थी वो जहाँ भी but this is the whole theory behind El Nino okay so it carries warmer water yes एबे जो कहली El Nino रे warmer water in the Eastern Pacific this is the UPSC 2012 question by the way okay UPSC 2012 prelims question केतेरा क्वेश्चन एमती प्रीवियस ईयर भी पचारची so that you guys can get accustomed to it in the Pacific Ocean carries less saline water yes research has shown that El Nino events often cause a large eastward displacement of low salinity water across the Pacific low salinity water towards this okay and then the final statement was its atmospheric equivalent is known as southern oscillation yes यार जो term टा होची ENSO okay this is El Nino southern oscillation El Nino is the oceanic counterpart ocean रे कौन चलची पानी displacement west को जिबा east को जिबा and all those aspects southern oscillation is the atmospheric counterpart so this is very simple the answer is 1 2 3 and 4 all are correct After that, we come to another conceptual question. Now, these are actually high level concepts. Okay, so ମୁଁ କେତେ ବୁଝେଇ ପାରିବି 5 minutes ରେ ମୁଁ ଯଦି ଅଧଘଣ୍ଟା ଦେବେ ମୁଁ ଆରାମ ସେ ଡାଇଗ୍ରାମ ଦେଖେଇକି ସବୁ ଘାଣ୍ଟି ଦେବି 5 minutes ରେ କେମିତି ବୁଝେଇବି I don't know but I'll try. Okay, which of the following statements with reference to hailstones is not correct? The hailstone ମାନେ କୁଆପଥର. Okay, so first ଆମେ hailstones ର ଟିକେ theory ଟା ବୁଝିବା ତାପରେ will come to the question. ଠିକ ଅଛି. Okay, so hailstones ପାଇଁ first of all तो हमें एतिकी जानचे ठीक just like cyclones hailstones also need cumulonimbus clouds. Okay, this is cumulonimbus clouds due to very violent convection. ठीक ଅଛି. So which means कि हमको warm conditions दरकार माने extremely warm conditions दरकार extreme localized low pressure दरकार. ठीक ଅଛି. ଆଉ ଏଇଟା କେବେ ହବ localized low pressures peak summer ରେ ହବ बहुत ततेई दबो ground को earth sun. Okay, the ground gets heated to a very high temperature because of which air starts rising, because of which you'll have low pressure and then high pressure winds will come to fill that gap. So this low pressure condition will only come in peak summer. So एइथरे हमको पचरा है which of the following is incorrect or not correct. एथरो गोटे statement अच्छी hailstones are primarily formed in the pre-monsoon and spring seasons due to intense vertical convection. So this is actually correct and hence according to this statement this option is wrong. Technically it is correct. Okay, don't get confused. Technically this is a correct. This is a pre-monsoon thing. Peak summer kebe pre-monsoon March ru April May पर्यंत. Okay, मार्च रु मे पर्यंत. सो सेतिकी बेले कुआपथर चान्स बेसी थाए. काला बैसाखी रे कुआपथर चान्स बेसी थाए. काला बैसाखी आसे वर्षा पूर्वरु मॉनसून पूर्वरु. सो सेही टाइम रे हेलस्टोन्स होची. सो वन ऑप्शन हैज बीन एलिमिनेटेड. दे आर यूजुअली एसोसिएटेड विथ क्यूमुलोनिम्बस क्लाउड्स स्ट्रॉन्ग ऑफ ड्राफ्ट्स जस्ट लाइक आई सेड. दिस इज द मिनिमम. एटा तो हबो ही हबो. वायलेंट कन्वेक्शन हेले क्यूमुलोनिम्बस क्लाउड्स विल बी फॉर्म. मु काई एई डायग्राम देखेबी मु काई आपन को भलो डायग्राम न देखेबी. क्यूमुलो hailstone ही मार दो. hailstone mechanism. Okay, here we go. This is hailstone mechanism. This is the cumulonimbus cloud. Okay, cumulonimbus cloud or also known as anvil shaped cloud. जहाँ भी अपन कहि परिबे से माने पचारि भी पारंती which of the following is known as anvil shaped clouds. ठीक अछि. This is cumulonimbus clouds. Okay, now the things that are happening here, how Kuapathara is formed, how hailstone is formed. Let's get into that. What happens? Hailstone 5 मिनट रे बनी बनी. Okay, first low pressure हबो, clouds formation हबो, ठीक है वर्षा हबा start हबो and then eventually you will get to see hailstone. Okay, how? So से जो वर्षा जो होची जेते बेले वर्षा पड़िबा start होची एठी somewhere here एठू violent convection होची. Air is rising very violently because of intense low pressure. At the same time, raindrops are falling in this direction. These raindrops are falling in this direction. Now, because these are very strong, what they'll do? Say आपको से raindrops को कहवा भाई तू भी चला मसांगे ऊपर को. Okay. So they will carry these raindrops along. These raindrops will not be allowed to fall to the earth. They'll also be carried along to the even upper atmosphere levels here. Okay. Now, there is something called supercooled water. These are facts जोटा कि just exist. हमें केबे पचारि मानी एप्पल तळु काई पडला. Okay, because it's gravity. ठीक अछि. ठीक सेमती हमें बुझिबा. एठी there is something called supercooled water. Supercooled water is something which is below freezing point but is still in liquid state. Okay, liquid state below freezing point. कहीं because freezing करिया पाई you need something for the liquid to latch on to something. जेतोले आमे बरफ जमोचु प्लेट रे से जो see this is the plate we are using for एइथरे आमे पानी पकाओ and then हमको cubicle size रो बरफ मिल जाए. ठीक अछि. कहीं मिलला because एठी गोटे solid structure अछि which is allowing it to freeze. ठीक सेमती these supercooled water droplets, let me use the blue color. Please follow this because it's really tough to understand at the same time important to understand. Okay, the super cooled water liquids here are in pure form. Ethi dust particles nahi, ethi nuclei nahi. So what solid structure does it latch on to in order to freeze? एमती किसी हे ही परिबन एमती किसी जिंस सेठी नाही. Hence super cooled water एठी even though below freezing point अछि is still in the liquid state. Okay, now ei jo ବର୍ଷା ଗୁଡ଼ା ଗଲା, ei jo ବର୍ଷା rains, now they have dust particles. Okay, and this acts as a nucleus when they go and end up here in this region. Now here you have something called freezing. Eight freeze haba start haba. It will form a grapple, also known as hailstone. बुझलो 80 freeze हवा start हवा. now देखो 80 से जो diagram टा if I show you, मैंने मुझे जहाँ कहली तार गोटे diagrammatic representation देखी दियो एठी, माने better diagram, more to better diagram. Not this one. So yeah, let's see here. 80 warm of draft hochi. Okay, random tumbling accretion on all sides, one side persistently path of a hailstone. No Britannica किसी भलो दे परनी. अच्छा ठीक है, let's continue with our explanation. एती की बुझा पड़ला. Maybe in some other context I'll show you. I'm not able to find a good diagram here. Okay, ये उपरू गला. now एती की जिंस हैला. So am a cloud ray, we now have a region where hail has started to form. Hailstorm is forming. Okay, so 80 hails जब form होगा start होगा, then they'll get heavy, they have to fall down. Okay, they'll start falling, but तोड़ू intense up एबे भी चलची ये जो intense convection because of low pressure. So what they'll do, ये जो तळକୁ पड़ुथला ये अगेन आकु अगेन ऊपर कैरी करिक नहीं जिवे. ओके, एमती करी गोटे साइकिल टे क्रिएट हबो. ये एमती तळକୁ पड़ुथबो, छोटो छोटो हे कि तळକୁ पड़ुथबो, ये ताको आधा बाटर ऊपर को नहीं जिवे. पुणी एठी ये आउरी हेवी हे चलिबो, ये अगेन तळକୁ पड़ुथबो, ये आधा बाटर ऊपर को नहीं जिवे. एमती करी कि फाइनली गोटे स्टेज आसीबो जते बेले कुआ पत्थर इज लार्ज एनफ, हैज एनफ मास, हैज एनफ वेट टू ओवरकम this particular updraft. Okay, and hence we will get finally हमको एठी कुआ पत्थर आसिकी ऊपर पड़ियो, ग्राउंड रे आसिकी पड़ियो. So this is the theory of hailstorm. It's very complex, चाहे कि YouTube video भी अपन देखि परिबे, but this is as simple as it gets how I can tell you this question. Okay, the third statement is hailstones are formed by rapid freezing of water vapor directly into solid ice near the earth's surface. No, this is wrong. Okay, so this is the one that is the correct answer. Ebe just like I showed, they are actually formed in the top part of the cloud जोटी की super cooled water थाए, and then over continuous cycles बड़ माने एमती पड़ुथबो, ताको पुणी पवन उपरु टाणुथबो, पुणी एपोर्ट पड़ुथबो, पुणी उपरु टाणुथबो, एमती करी 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 फाइनली से माने बड़ हेकी तळे पड़ंती. Okay, so near the earth surface is the wrong statement here. Hailstones often develop multiple concentric layers due to repeated up and down movements within the clouds. This is what I was talking about. So this is again a technically correct statement and hence a wrong option for us. The only technically incorrect statement here is this one. I hope that was clear to you. I don't know how successful I was in explaining, but I hope that was clear. Why is the annual range of temperature generally lower in coastal regions than continental interiors? The presence of water bodies leads to moderation due to high specific heat of water. Yes, high specific heat of water hele it takes more time to warm, it takes more time to cool. Okay, so annual range of temperature is lower. ठीक अछि. तो आमे एठी माने एथि जानिया कोन चाहूँ जदि land रो annual range is say 20 degrees at night and 40 degrees at day, then एठी हेतिबो 30 degrees at 25 degrees at night, 35 degrees at day. Okay, this is ocean, this is land, and hence our range hochi 10 degrees Celsius, our range hochi 20 degrees Celsius. So this is lower than this. This is what the question is asking. So yes, presence of large water bodies, it helps because high specific water. ठीक है जी. Sea breezes and ocean currents help regulate temperatures near the coast. Yes, this माने moderation रे help करंती. Coastal regions receive less solar radiation compared to interiors. Useless option एमती किछि नाही. समस्ते solar insolation ठीक same ही पाइबे. But कहार property केमतिया will depend say solar insolation is being bounced back or is being absorbed. Okay. Frequent cloud cover near coasts prevent temperature extremes. This is also correct. The only correct option here is 1, 2 and 4. Okay. So this was that ye question. You can read the solution. Then presence of water bodies leads to, yes, a moderation. Water has a much higher specific height capacity than land, meaning it takes more energy to heat up and cools down more slowly. This is option 1. Sea breezes bring cooler air from the ocean to land, lowering coastal temperatures. ठीक है. No universal rule. Yes, that was a useless statement. Clouds play a significant role in moderating temperature by reflecting incoming radiation during the day. Okay. You remember the heat budget, right? So heat budget रो आमे diagram देखू एठी ground था एठी cloud था so सब बेले गोटे एठू ही गोटे आमे फेरे दो केतेटा जिंस which is also known as albedo. Okay. So जते बेले coastal areas रे because of presence of water clouds बेसी रहिबो तो क्लाउड्स बेसी रहिले सन क्लाउड्स रु बाउंस करी कि इंसुलेशन काफी बाउंस बैक इट विल गो बैक सो बिकॉज ऑफ दिस एल्बिडो टेम्परेचर एक्सट्रीम्स एठी हबन एंड हेंस द आंसर इज 1, 2 and 4. दिस इज फैक्चुअल क्वेश्चन कोटी कौन ग्रासलैंड्स अछि मैप रे देख देले बेटर. दिस इज डाउन्स, दिस इज पुस्टास Hungary रे. This is Weld, South Africa, and this is Campos in Brazil, Argentina, and Paraguay. ये सब जिनसा very frequently asked by them. Just make a note of these things. Chenab River. एबे जो bridge inaugurate हैला से I have designed this question. Through the unique part of this question is only one statement is correct. The options are telling you only one statement is correct. You have to simply identify it. But it's fact heavy, so identifying it may be difficult if you have not read about it. Okay. Chenab originates at Verinag in Kashmir Valley. No, it's in Himachal. Okay. So this statement is wrong. Chenab joins Indus at Panjnad, Pakistan. No, Panjnad re sub Indus ku au chatta nadi jayegi निश्चय माने मिसुचंती बट चेनाब ता आगुरु रवि सांगरे मिसि जाउची बहुत जल्दी सो दिस स्टेटमेंट इज रॉन्ग. Formed by confluence of Chandra and Bhaga rivers near Tundi in Himachal Pradesh. Yes, this is correct. Chandra Bhaga se upper reach rate is known as Chandra Bhaga. Okay. And Kishan Ganga hydroelectric project is located on the Chenab river. No, this is the Jhelum river. Map. If I can show you the map. This is the Chenab river right here. Okay. This is near Kelang in Himachal Pradesh. Tapare Jabia, it cuts across Pir Panjal, cuts across Dholadhar, cuts across the Shivaliks and then enters Pakistan. Jabki Indus jauchi through Kashmir. Okay. So this is about Chenab. So answer is 2 only. Which of the following statements regarding soils of Odisha are correct? Laterite soils dominate the eastern Ghats region of Odisha, especially in Koraput and Rayagada districts. Correct. Alluvial soils are largely confined to the Malkangiri and Kandhamal districts. No. Alluvial soils always will have something to do with coastal or rivers. Okay. Coastal districts or rivers. Alluvial soil have to have an element of rivers. Okay. Pani se thiba dorkar. Malkangiri, Kandhamal, southern Odisha inside. Coast sangre kichi lena dena nahi. So you have This statement is wrong, this statement is correct, and this is one only. Laterite soils are typically formed in hot, wet tropical areas with high rainfall conditions found on the high plateaus, hilly areas of Eastern Ghats, which is which was the statement there. Laterite is the characteristic and dominant soil of highland topography in Koraput and Raigada. Alluvial soils in Odisha are primarily found in the coastal plains and deltaic regions of rivers like the Mahanadi River, Brahmani, and the Baitarini. Districts of Malkangiri and Kandhamal are dominated by types such as red, black, and brown forest soils. So, soils of Odisha, Odisha geography road question. This was the thing. In which of the following parts of Odisha will you primarily find the plant species Rhizopora and Avicennia? See, these are mangroves. Okay. So you have to identify which of them are mangroves. Empty question both pachara jaye bele bele. So answer is Bhitarkanika National Park in Kendrapada. These are mangroves. Eta apanku identify kariyar thila. Which of the following rivers originate outside Odisha and flow into the state? को अलगा स्टेट रे स्टार्ट हेतिबे एंड देन ओडिशा भितरु को पहुंचछंदी. महानदी छत्तीसगढ़ रे स्टार्ट होचे. ओके. सुबर्णिका झारखंड रे स्टार्ट होचे. एटी ओनली वंशधारा इज वन जोटा कि ओडिशा रे ही स्टार्ट होची एंड आंध्रा को जाउचे. ओके. सो 3 नो क्वेश्चन को ये थिला. द आंसर इज 1 2 and 4. ब्राह्मणी आल्सो. Question solution. Subarnekha, Jharkhand, Ranchi district. Brahmani, Chota Nagpur plateau, again Jharkhand. Vamshadhara originates in Kalahandi, Odisha and flows into Andhra Pradesh. Mahanadi, Sihawa district, Chhattisgarh, and eastward through Chhattisgarh before entering Odisha. So again, factual question that you need to know because Odisha geography is a big part in the prelims exam. Answer is 1 2 and 4. This is wrong. With reference to Indian Ocean dipole, again another conceptual in Sasla. Consider the following statements. IOD refers to the difference in sea surface temperatures between eastern and western parts of the Indian Ocean. Correct. Unlike ENSO, the Indian Ocean dipole does not exhibit a neutral phase. It exists only in positive or negative states. No, wrong. ROB got a neutral phase achi. Okay. And to show you the diagram, ମୁଁ କାହିଁ ମୋର ଏତେ ସୁନ୍ଦର ଡାଇଗ୍ରାମ ଗୁଡ଼ା ଯେଉଁ ତ ମୁଁ କରୁଛି ଟିକେ ଯଦି ମୁଁ ଦେଖେଇ ଦେଇପାରିବି ଭଲ ଡାଇଗ୍ରାମ. ଓକେ, ଆଇ ଥିଙ୍କ ଭଲ ଡାଇଗ୍ରାମଟେ ମିଳିଗଲା. Yes. This is Drishti IAS. Okay. Neutral phase, negative phase, positive phase. See, so this one is the ये देखो Indian Ocean रो ही एठी कथा चलची. Indian Ocean dipole, hence it is exclusively related to Indian Ocean only. गोटे positive phase था, गोटे negative phase था. कौन हबो बेले बेले this part becomes warmer because of warm conditions. You will have convection, you will have cumulonimbus clouds formation, and you will have more rains in this region. This diverging air will have to obviously converge somewhere, and it converges here in the eastern part of the ocean. Okay, this is the positive phase. Okay, coming to the negative phase. Negative phase रे उल्टा हबो. एठी warmer water रहइबो, एठू air rise करिबो, एठी वर्षा हबो, convergence हबो in the western part, and hence cooler than normal, warmer than normal. Okay, and finally the neutral phase, not much difference. The neutral phase माने एमती relative difference बेसी किछि रहइबोनी. एई पटे वर्षा होची, and this is the thing. एपटे वर्षा काहे होची because remember in general कौन होची आमे जो एबे पढ़ी थिले El Nino रे normal years रे this is a warm water pool of El Nino. So एई पटे warm conditions बेसी, hence वर्षा एई पटे बेसी. This is the neutral phase. Okay, the neutral phase. Then to change हो जाउछि game when you are entering the negative phase or the positive phase. So not much to understand here. I mean, not much complexities to understand here. It's pretty straightforward. You just have to remember them. Okay. So if I go back to my question paper, you have IOD refers to the difference in sea temperatures between eastern and western parts. Dekheli, yes. Unlike ENSO, the Indian Ocean dipole does not exhibit a neutral phase. No, this also has a neutral phase, and answer is one only. Similipal Biosphere Reserve is located in which physiographic region of India? The northern plateaus. Mayurbhanj district in the northern part of Odisha. Map, if you see, you have the Similipal Wildlife Sanctuary here. BTW, by the way, Similipal Tiger Reserve was officially declared as India's 107th national park. Bahut recent news, April 2025. So you must remember this, okay? And आ ପାଇଁ ओडिशा गवर्नमेंट गोटे स्कीम भी आंची आम सिमिलीपाल बोली गोटे स्कीम अच्छी एतिकी तार स्क्वायर किलोमीटर स्क्वायर एरिया वर्ल्ड्स ओनली नेचुरल हैबिटेट फॉर वाइल्ड मेलानिस्टिक टाइगर्स राइट्स फ्री टू प्रिवेंट ह्यूमन एक्टिविटीज व्हाटएवर ठीक है तो दिस इज नॉर्दर्न प्लेट्यू विच इज एन एक्सटेंशन ऑफ द छोटा नागपुर प्लेट्यू क्वेश्चन वाज वेयर आंसर इज सी which of the following best describes the term glacial freaking? Answer is release of ancient methane from beneath melting glaciers due to water percolation. Okay, this was recently in news, just something you should know. Glacial freaking was recently coined by researchers to describe a natural process where melting glaciers in the Arctic release significant amounts of ancient methane, a potent greenhouse gas. Because Arctic amplification is going on. Arctic is warming 4 times faster than global average. तार गोटे टर्म अच्छी Arctic amplification. Okay. So because of this, the flushing action of the water forces the trapped methane out from underground reservoirs and transport it to the surface, where it is released into the atmosphere. Resulting melt water माने ये जो मेल्ट वाटर दैट परकुलेट्स डाउन थ्रू क्रैक्स एंड फिशेस इन द बेडरॉक जहाँ भी माने अच्छी आइसबर्ग अच्छी से क्रैक्स फिशेस डेवलप हम पानी मेल्ट होगी ता भितर को पशिबो ता भितर को पशिकी फ्लश करिवो जहाँ एंशिएंट मीथेन से अच्छी दिस इज द आइसबर्ग देयर इज सम गैप हियर so the melt water is entering these gaps, okay, the fissures, and whatever gas is trapped here, okay, this is being pushed outside. Alga parts through, it is being pushed outside. This is glacial freaking. So that completes our geography discussion. Now coming to history. Okay, so history is all facts, so let's just quickly finish this section and move on to the next one. The first question is in the context of history of India, the August Declaration of 1917 is known for. Eti pila dita jinsare confuse hebe. One is Montagu Chelmsford, which was 1919, and this one. But this one was the purpose. Okay, August Declaration was, the British government said that the goal of British rule in India was the gradual development of self-governing institutions, and after this came the Montagu Chelmsford reforms. So you cannot say A is the answer here. The answer is B. Okay. Nothing much to speak about here. It's just what it is. Okay. Indianization of government service. Okay, consider the following: Indianization of government service, availability of cheap credit, separation of judiciary from executive, increase in spending on the army. How many of the above were the main demands made by the moderates during the initial phase of the Indian National Congress? It increase in the spending of army achi, so this one is incorrect. This is correct, this is correct, this is correct. The answer is only 3. If we go to 50, acha purva question re Edwin Montagu was the Secretary of State, gradual development, this. The declaration came in response to growing nationalist movements in India, such as the Home Rule League, and to secure Indian support for the British effort in World War I. Okay, this was the background. But say, यदि मुझे history रो भी background को पढ़े बिना, So again, this will be like unnecessarily long. I'm teaching history. I'm not discussing the question paper anymore. So we'll just dash through the solutions. These were the demands of the moderates in the early years. These three have been asked, but a significant cut in the military expenditure is the correct answer. There I have written increase the military expenditure, which is incorrect. Okay, just go through them. Very easy, very simple, makes very much sense also, like, keeping in with reference to the times during those days. Which one of the following leaders was associated with the formation of Tiger Legion or Free India Legion in Germany? This is Subhash Chandra Bose. This later became the Azad Hind Fauj. Azad Hind Fauj. Say apparently Hitler sangere bhi dekha hitile. And that's the background story. Free India Legion or Tiger Legion. Okay. Tinta newspaper diya heichi. Pachara heichi, how many above are correctly matched? Voice of India is not Nauroji Furdunji. This is correct, and this is correct. But ethi Calcutta General Advisor ro out ikke facts achi. Let me tell them to you. See, amme janiche that James Augustus Hickey is Bengal Gazette. Okay, but Bengal Gazette's full title was Hickey's Bengal Gazette or the original Calcutta General Advertiser. I had chosen this particular formation just to confuse students, but the same. Calcutta General Advertiser jaha, Bengal Gazette seya, it's James Augustus Hickey. Voice of India is Dadabhai Naroji. Amrit Bazar Patrika is Sisir Kumar Ghosh and Motilal Ghosh, 1868. And Sambat Kaumudi is Raja Ram Mohan Roy, 1821. Okay, so that's 3 pairs are correct. Prajamandal movement in Odisha primarily aimed at demanding civil liberties and responsible government in princely states. Princely states were very undemocratic in how they used to deal with things. So this was the movement. Significant grassroots struggle, primarily an internal movement directed against the oppressive autocratic rule of the native kings and feudal lords. Secure civil liberties, establish responsible government, and feudal exploitation. In Odisha history jitebele padhibe, you will come across these facts. Okay. Mahima Dharma. Why this question? Because this was asked in Mains 23, which was recently conducted in April 24. Okay. 20 marker direct pachartila, short note on Mahima or Alekha, whatever it is. So Mahima Dharma actively promoted ritualistic living as a means to purify society. No, they were against idolatry and rituals. They wanted spirituality and not blind belief. So movement emphasized belief in Shunya Brahma or formless God. Okay. And Dhenkanal re ankar gote bahut famous jaga bhi achi. This is, although this is shaped like a temple, this is in general not considered a temple. It's a spiritual place, which is known as Joranda Godi in Dhenkanal. Okay. So Mahima Dharma was founded by Mahima Swami, 19th century Odisha. Iconoclastic, meaning it strongly opposes idol worship and elaborate rituals associated with it. A central tenet of its philosophy was formless God, also known as Alekha, Nirakara, or Shunya Brahma. Okay. The faith is monotheistic and emphasizes that ultimate reality is singular and without a physical form. So this was again a Odisha history question. A recently released HUD movie Ananta. It is based on a short story by Fakir Mohan Senapati. What is the central theme of the original story? So this answer is social stigma surrounding birth and legitimacy. So this particular child was the person was the child of a widow. So he used to have tanko bahut sara mane societal prejudices and biases. All those words were directed at him, and he was not behaving properly also. Both tankar behavior bahut kharab thila, but in the end he does something to save others and sacrifices himself. That's the whole story, and this is the central theme. Okay. Mane kain ki apnu climax koi bhi kon hoba, but this is the central theme of Fakir Mohan Senapati's short story Ananta revolves around the life of its protagonist Ananta, who is ostracized by his village due to circumstances of his birth. In the social context of the time, the term was used pejoratively, and the story explores the journey of a character who's initially a notorious troublemaker, but largely as a reaction to this social rejection. जेहेतु लोक ताको रिजेक्ट करूचंती तो से बहुत ट्रबल मेकर थिला, but in the end he, you know, changes himself, brings a change in himself, and he does something extremely of very high, sacrifice. Our famous Odia actor. Okay. Famous paintings: Padmapani, Vajrapani, Mahajana Jataka, Umaga Jataka were all found in which? Yeah, Ajanta. Easy question. Another freebie. बहुत सारा freebies mu diye mu kochi. OPSC bhi dabo. At least 7 to 10 freebies dabo which you cannot make wrong. Okay. I had 150 times maybe asked in the last 150 years. So Ajanta is the answer. Arrange the following dynasties in the correct chronological order of their emergence. So this is 1 2 4 3. ठीक ऑर्डर रे अच्छी खाली 4 आउ 3 रो ऑप्शन टा चेंज अच्छी. पुष्यभूतिज ऑफ थानेसर फेमस फॉर हर्षवर्धन. ओके, दिस इज 6th and 7th century CE or AD. Rashtrakutas of Manyakheta, this is around 8th century. Danti Durga was the founder who overthrew the Chalukyas. Hoysalas of Dwarasamudra, again 10th to 14th century. Started as feudatories of Western Chalukyas but became a sovereign power in 12th century. See, these things will not make sense to you because माको गप भलिया माने मु पढ़ी तो जाउची, but this is with an assumption that आपण थोड़े थोड़े पढ़ी चंदी ये सब जिंस. I cannot go to the background of Pushyabutis of Thanesar. How did they come to power or what did they? Already this video is close to 3.5 hours long. I cannot say Rashtrakutas of Manyakheta कौन थिले तांको राजा कौन करथिला or whatever. So if you are expecting that, then this is not the class. Maybe in future I'll take a history class or something. I can tell you those things. But this is just a discussion where I'm telling you a question ro answer kono. Okay. So sethipai mu jaldi saruchi because these are all plain facts that you are supposed to study. Nobody can be a substitute for you studying those books, those standard sources. I can only tell you कि देखो एमतिया क्वेश्चन पढ़ी पारे बाबा आपको प्रैक्टिस कर दियो, बट प्रैक्टिस करिया पे आगे पढ़िया दरकार. So read these chapters first, only then these things will make sense to you. So this is done. Located near Brahmagiri and the Bhargavi river, this archaeological site lies on the northeastern fringe of Chilika Lake. It is believed to be the medieval port of Chelitalo, described by Hyun Sa, and evidence suggests it was a hub of international maritime trade. Identify the site. The answer is Manikpatna, which is near Chilika. It is an archaeological site. The site is situated near Brahmagiri on the left bank of Bhargavi river. Manikpatna is probable location of the ancient port city of Chelitalo, which was described by Chinese pilgrim Huan Sa during his visit in the 7th century CE. Yeah, so trade city hotla. Okay. Roman amphora fragments, pottery, Chinese porcelain, copper coins, pottery from Burma and other parts also confirm its extensive maritime trade links. Okay. So again, factual. History is all facts and stories. Consider the following statement, 61 question number. Both Gandhara and Mathura schools of architecture were heavily influenced by all three major religions of the time. No. Gandhar was almost purely Buddhism. Okay. Mathura was, okay, Hinduism, some elements of Jainism and Buddhism. So both being heavily influenced by all three major religions is a wrong statement. There were three types: Gandhara, Mathura and Amravati style. Okay. Unlike the Mathura school of architecture, the Amravati school primarily used red spotted sandstone for making Buddhist sculptures. Again, ulta kar dechi. Mathura is red spotted sandstone. Amravati is white marble. Okay. So both the statements are wrong. The answer is neither one nor two. The next question is with reference to King Kharavela, the ruler of Kalinga. Consider the following statements. Hathigumpa inscription. Khandagiri credits Kharavela with the repair of irrigation canals originally built by the Nandas. Kharavela is recorded to have launched military expeditions reaching as far as the Deccan Plateau, subjugating the Satavahanas. Again, you have to read. Okay, both the statements here are correct. What I can do is I can show you the photographs. Kharavela extended a canal into his capital. Hathigumpa inscription. which is his capital was known as Kalinga Nagari, present day Mukhalingam in Andhra Pradesh, which had originally been built by Nanda King. The inscription details Kharavela's military campaigns, including expeditions towards the west, south against Satavahana king Satkarni. Okay. Ritika and Bhojaka chiefs. This is the inscription. Okay. So, yeah, this is the one. So, both the statements are correct. Which of the following forts is not associated with the Ganga dynasty? Baravati, Raibaniya, and Chudanga. All three are associated with Ganga. Okay. This one, Asurgarh fort, has nothing to do with the Ganga dynasty. Okay. So, if you see here, Baravati fort, constructed in 13th century, King Ananga Bhimadeva. Raibaniya fort, built by Ganga ruler Langula Narsingha Deva. Then Chudanga fort, Baranga. It was originally built by the Somavamshi dynasty, okay, but it was renamed by King Anantavarmana Chudanga Deva of the Ganga dynasty. So all three associated with the Gangas. But Asurgarh fort in Kalahandi is pre-Mauryan. So it has nothing to do with the Gangas. The answer is Asurgarh fort. So I hope you are enjoying these Odisha history questions, because they will form a major chunk of the eventual question paper in OPSC. Okay. Who did Mahatma Gandhi refer to when he said, his defeat is my defeat after the Congress presidential election of 1939? The answer is Pattabi Sitaramaya. Etoloku Congress re gote radical wing led by SC Bose. Pura mane start he galani, okay? But obviously Gandhi was against radicalism. So there were two wings, one by SC Bose, the original one by Mahatma Gandhi. Now Gandhi did not participate actively in politics by this time, so he sent his proxy Pattabi Sitaramaya to contest for the elections. But ye kichi 1500 votes, ye kichi 1300 votes, and he defeated him. Bose defeated him in the 1939 elections. Mahatma Gandhi took it personally, said his defeat is my defeat. Because of this, as a moral, because of this, his moral values, सुभाष चंद्र बोस सेड नहीं, अगर गांधी जी को पसंद नहीं आया तो हम कैसे कंटिन्यू कर सकते हैं. ओके, सो ही रिजाइंड एंड देन इवेंचुअली द प्रेसिडेंट बिकेम राजेंद्र प्रसाद. So this is a complex story that happened there. Okay. Bhogaraju Pattabi Sitaramaya was Gandhi's chosen candidate. Election was contentious, pitting the moderate represented by Gandhi's nominee against the radical wing who was represented by Subhash Chandra Bose. Eventually 1580 vote, 1377 vote, Hore Dele. He famously declared his defeat is my defeat. The statement created a very difficult situation within the Congress, ultimately leading to Bose's resignation as president and appointment of Rajendra Prasad in his place. So he was not even there in the picture, but eventually this guy was appointed as the president. But the answer to this question is Bhogaraju Pattabi Sitaramaya. Arrange the following events related to formation of Odisha province in chronological order. Formation of Odisha as a separate province. This is 1936. Utkal Sammelan first session 1901. This is Madhusudan Das. Okay. To unify all the Odia speaking regions under one umbrella. Salmon Commission's visit to Odisha 1928. Appointment of O'Donnell Committee. What is O'Donnell Committee? Odisha State Boundary Committee. Kona amar borders rahibo. Okay. So that is O'Donnell Committee. This is 1931. So Utkal Sammelani is 1. This is 2. This is 3. This is 4. So yeah, answer okay. Okay. What term is used to describe the practice where corporations or institutions... Okay, history is finished here officially. Okay, now we are entering environment. What term is used to describe the practice where corrupt corporations or institutions underreport or deliberately conceal their environment effects and achievements? So you all have heard about the term greenwashing. Okay, greenwashing is slightly derived from the term brainwashing. Okay, so ଯେତେବେଳେ से तुमको fake आमे एतिकी परसेंट कार्बन कमे देलु, एतिकी परसेंट आम जो एनवायरनमेंट क्लियर हो गला, एतिकी परसेंट क्लाइमेट चेंज रो इफेक्ट्स कमी गला. The point is आमे एगुला सब सुनी तो दौचे, but as consumers do we have any sort of method to see कि अरे actually कम हेच ना नहीं. So they throw these vague statistics on us and try to brainwash us into believing that what a great company they are. So that is greenwashing. Okay, but तार ठीक उल्टा, where corporations or institutions underreport or deliberately conceal their environment efforts and achievements, that is green hushing. Hushing is when you ask someone to say shh, चुप रहो. Okay, ठीक सेमती green hushing माने आमे कामो करूछु बट आमे चुप रहबो, आमे कहबुनी आमे कोन काम करूछु. एंड तारो किछि peculiar केतेटा peculiar reasons अछि. Okay, so green hushing refers to the deliberate practice where companies deliberately under communicate or hide their genuine sustainability efforts. Okay, मान लिया this is done out of fear of being accused of greenwashing. कहीं जदि आमे वेग जिनस फोपाड़लु एंड एते एक्टिविज्म बढ़ी गलानी, लोकंकर अवेयरनेस बढ़ी गलानी, इंटरनेट लोक पढ़ी कि जानी गलेनी कि बहुत कंपनीज चीटिंग करछंती. आमे जदि एया कलु हुए तो माने लोक आम पई भी सेम जिनस कहबे. सो लेट्स डू व्हाटएवर वी आर डूइंग, but let's under report them. Okay, to not tarnish our image. Okay, it's the opposite of greenwashing, where companies exaggerate their environmental friendliness. This silence can stem from a fear of backlash if goals aren't met, concerns about being accused of greenwashing, or a belief that highlighting sustainability efforts wouldn't be well received. तार गोटे बहुत बढ़िया एठी डायग्राम टे मु पाइथली नेट रे एठी लगे देछि. You can read it by pausing the screen. Okay, that was greenwashing, green hushing. Okay, environment again. So Forest Rights Act to hobo hi hobo. Scheduled Tribes and Other Traditional Forest Dwellers, Recognition of Forest Rights Act 2006. The Gram Sabha is the authority designated to initiate the process of determining the nature and extent of individual or community forest rights. The Union Ministry of Tribal Affairs is the final authority that officially decides and declares the extent of individual forest right for any claimant. This is incorrect. This is correct. The Act, so since this is incorrect, so we already have the answer 1 and 2. The Act grants title rights to land that was being framed by forest dwellers as of December 13, 2005 with a maximum limit of 4 hectares. Again, a facts would have monne rakhibe. This can be a standalone question. What is the cutoff date in the Forest Rights Act? December 13, 2005. What is the maximum limit in Forest Rights Act? 4 hectares and all those things. You have to remember this. Okay. Gram Sabha is empowered as the primary authority to initiate, receive and verify claims for both individual and community forest rights. Jodi jane family achi je kouchi ki more forest rights, I am entitled to this forest right by virtue of being a forest dweller for the last 100 centuries. Mo dada, pardada, tanko dada have been here. Mate forest rights diyo, mate AI entitlements darkar. Jota kiye verify karibo? Gram Sabha has been empowered. Number 1. Number 2, the Act recognizes and vests title rights or ownership to land being cultivated by forest dwelling scheduled tribes and other traditional forest dwellers as of the cutoff date of December 13, 2005. आप पूर्वरु जे सबु थिले जेहेतु एटा 2006 रे आसीची एक्टा, सो से माने एई कट ऑफ डेटा रखथिले तांको ही फॉरेस्ट राइट्स दिया हबो. This is subject to a ceiling of 4 hectares per family. Just like I mean land reforms introduce करथिले. Land reforms कौन थिला? 80 hectares is the minimum that you can own. बाकी सबु को we will redistribute among farmers, right? ठीक सेमती 80 is the 4 hectares is the limit. But सेथरे जो लिखा है Union Ministry of Tribal Affairs is the nodal agency. It is the nodal agency at the central level, मान लिया. But it does not have the authority to decide individual claims. Okay, individual claims are decided by a district level committee, which gives the final approval on claims. So that's the incorrect statement in this question. Which of the following best describes the term ecocide? Okay. In this question, so you have to break the word. Eco mane something related to environment. Side is coming from suicide, self death. Side mane environmental death. So now let's try and fit what can be the answer. Slow natural extinction of plant species. No, this is environment we're talking about. It plant hegala. So must not be it. Okay. Illegal poaching and trafficking of endangered animal species. Again, I mean environment, ecology ro eco diet hi asuchi. So animal alone cannot be that. Okay. Over dependence of communities on ecological tourism for livelihood leading to economic collapse. ठीक है, ecological आसिला, tourism है पारे, but economic collapse is not death, the side here. Okay, suicide and the side is death, simply side cannot be the death due to economic collapse. Deliberate destruction of ecosystems or severe environmental damage due to human activity, often considered for recognition as an international crime. Now, this is all aspects. Suicide is a crime, ecocide is an international crime, deliberate destruction, death, death, ecosystems, ecology, eco. So, all sorts of things have been verified here, and so D must be the answer. This is what you're going to think in the exam hall. A question को छाड़ी के आसे बेनी केबे भी टिकेट एलिमिनेट कले आराम से आंसर बाहर. Another factual question: which of the following statements about 2025 management effective evaluation report are correct? See, this is carried out for the protected areas. Okay, a study of protected areas. Let's see कौन करेक्ट कौन नहीं. आम एतिक देखि पारछे एथरे दीटा भूल अछि दीटा करेक्ट अछि. तो आमे जदि if we can identify even one correct or one incorrect, then we can eliminate at least two options and get closer to the answer. Again, telling you the exam hall mindset if you haven't read it. Let's see. Kerala achieved a very good rating with a score above 75%. Now, Kerala, there are so many protected areas. It's because it's Western Ghats is where it is starting from. Okay, Kerala is Western Ghats are starting from Kerala. It are protected areas and they are known for how they preserve it. Yes, in recent years, because of ecological destruction, Western Ghats बहुत landslides भी हो ची. But in general, ये जो नीलगिरी तार and all those animals, they are very well protected. And से जो अच्छी some 5-6 पूरा cluster अच्छी national parks रो नीलगिरी hills रे, they are known for this, and it's also a biodiversity reserve. So ମୁଁ ଭାବିବି this must be a correct thing. Okay, Kerala achieved a very good rating with a score of above 75%. ଯଦି ଏଥିରେ ମୋତେ ଦିଟା ଭୁଲ ଦିଟା ଠିକ ବାହାର କରିବାର ଅଛି, this might be one of the ଠିକ options. Okay, Dachigham National Park received the lowest score due to increased poaching threats. Now here there is no way of identifying whether this is correct or not. I can't say that Dachigham, which is in Kashmir, हो सकता है नहीं भी हो सकता है, पता नहीं. आगे बढ़ते हैं. एटा एबे क्वेश्चन मार्क रखिया. The MEE framework is based on the international standards laid down by IUC and WCPA. Okay, this has to be correct. Okay, so one is maybe correct, 50% रे अछि मु. One मु 0% sure अछि एटा correct हे परिबो ना नहीं. एटा मु 100% को आनी देली. Okay, 3 मोते दीटा रे देखा जाउछि, तो मु एठी दीटा गोले एलिमिनेट कर देली. Roila, Ladakh was the top performing union territory with a score of 80%. This is again 0% surety. हो भी सकता है, नहीं भी हो सकता है. Now I have to decide कि should I go with 1 and 3 or 3 and 4, which already tells me कि 2 is not the correct answer. Okay. And now based on my gut, if ମୁଁ ଦେଖିଲି कि ମୁଁ already 80 questions attempt कर देछि, this is too risky, I'll leave this question, I'll not mark it. But जदि मोर attempts कम अछि, मते लागुछि cut off clear करियार दिक्कत हे पारे, so I'll take a risk here. This sounds correct. This is definitely correct. And hence, answer must be 1 and 3. ए आमु मार्क करी पळे आसीबी and एमती आपन को at least 10-15 questions रे करियार अछि exam hall रे. So more you do this logical guessing, the more you refine that art, the better for you during the exam hall in the main exam. Okay. Nervous हबार नहीं, logically भाभी की कले भी it will work. In the light of increasing tiger dispersal beyond protected zones, the Indian government has recently launched Tigers Outside Tiger Reserves initiative. Okay. As per 2025 estimates, India's total tiger population stands at 3,682. Approximately, what percentage of India's tiger population lives outside protected tiger reserves? Okay, this is the question. The answer here is 30%. They live outside, and hence this initiative. A initiative रे Tigers Outside Tiger Reserves initiative. Nearly 30% of India is estimated live outside the 58 notified tiger reserves. Initiative will be এই जो details गुला टिके important. Okay, 80 forest divisions, they might ask these factual questions. 80 forest divisions in states with significant tiger populations outside reserves, including MP, Karnataka, Assam, Kerala and Uttarakhand. Budget 88 crore. SCTK conflict achi. Some sources cite 176.45 also. I must have picked this from some website to be utilized under this fiscal year. Funding source, funding has been approved by the executive committee of CAMPA. Okay, compensatory afforestation fund management. Okay, a 30% statistic is important. Consider the following pairs: Koena Wildlife Sanctuary, Kuno National Park, Chinar Wildlife Sanctuary, Madhya Pradesh, Kerala. Okay, so all are correct. This is Maharashtra, this is Madhya Pradesh, this is Kerala. Very basic factual question that they ask. Match the following types where protected areas. Okay. Consider the following statements again. As of June 2025, the total number of Ramsar sites in India has reached 91, the highest tally in Asia. Yes, this is correct. Last video I had given another question on Ramsar site, and under that I had told you in extra information that 91 is the number. So a question, I just framed a question on that. Designation of Udhava Lake in February 2025 marked the first ever Ramsar site for the state of Tamil Nadu. No, last test again Tamil Nadu is the highest one with 20 Ramsar sites. Okay, and Udhava Lake designation I think Jharkhand rehichi, and this is the first ever Ramsar site in Jharkhand. So 2 is wrong, 1 is the correct answer. Just let me check. Yes, state of Jharkhand. Udhava Lake in February 25 was the first ever Ramsar site for the state of Jharkhand. Tamil Nadu already has numerous Ramsar sites, and with 20 sites, it has the highest number in any state. So, Jadi, any fact, any one of these facts, you will be able to eliminate option number 2. You either know Udhava Koti or you know Tamil Nadu already ach. Either ways, it can help you arrive at the answer. In January 25, the Odisha government partnered with Council on Energy, Environment and Water, a prominent think tank, to develop a roadmap for achieving net zero carbon emissions. Which of the following best describes net zero carbon emissions? Okay, again same thing, I eliminate kari chaliya. A government policy that mandates the complete shutdown of all industries that produce greenhouse gases. Ho hi nahi sakta, useless. State where all carbon emissions are completely eliminated through a ban on fossil fuels. Again, extreme, useless. A state where any greenhouse gases released into the atmosphere are balanced by an equivalent amount being removed. Yes, this has to be the correct one. A condition where total greenhouse gas emissions are reduced by 50% compared to pre-industrial levels. No, this is again wrong. This is the correct answer. Net zero carbon emissions. Basic definition. Examine the following statements regarding accumulation of pollutants in ecosystems. Bioaccumulation refers to the gradual buildup of chemical substance within an organism over time. Biomagnification refers to the increasing concentration of toxic substances as they move up the food chain. Yes, both are correct. Okay, kitata इनडाइजेस्टेबल जिनस जो आम बॉडी रे आम खाई खाई एक्युमुलेट करी चलू हार्मफुल आम भितर दैट इज बायो एक्युमुलेशन. बायो मैग्निफिकेशन इज जो गोटे छोट एनिमल बीइंग ईटन बाय अनदर एनिमल बीइंग ईटन बाय अनदर एनिमल. ही हैड सम बायो एक्युमुलेटेड मटेरियल, and when this guy eats this and this guy eats this, even this has bioaccumulated material because it cannot be broken down by the digestive system. Okay, so here it is known as biomagnification. Both are related, but eta gote organism bhitere, this is in a food chain. Okay, biomagnification or bioamplification bhi kuhanti. It's a process where concentration of these toxic substances increases at successively higher levels at a food chain. Okay, an organism in higher level consumes multiple organisms from the lower level below it, thereby ingesting and accumulating toxins from all its prey. A classic example is the accumulation of DDT, which led to thinning eggshells in predatory birds like eagles and ospreys. Eta sabu shankar re bhi padithibe, PMF re bhi padithibe, both common example eta. Okay, which of the following are the definitions and term दिया है आपन पचरा है are correctly matched or not. Okay, so ecotone, transition zone between two different ecosystems. Yes, this is water, this is forest. Okay, then ejo zone ta. Okay, ejo transition zone ta. This is your ecotone. Okay, keystone species, a species whose presence and role have a disproportionately large effect on the ecosystem. Again, correct. Both are correct. Example, vultures. Okay, if vultures do not eat scavenging material as or do not act as scavengers, ताले जो पचा dead animals, all of them will be harmful to the native animals, because जो germs जो produce हबो से समस्तଙ୍କ देह खराब कर दबो. So they eat and clean up the environment. Okay, so that is keystone species. Eutrophication, nutrient enrichment of water bodies leading to algal bloom and oxygen depletion. Very common sight. आम सब गाँव जितनी की पोखरी वोखरी थाए, this is very common. Bioremediation, the use of living organisms to clean up polluted environments. Yes, oil spills सफा करिया पाई sea रे bacteria are used, because bacteria are able to break them down, and so this is an example of bioremediation. The answer is 1, 2, 3 and 4. Because I thought ki first half of the question paper tikke mu extra, I thought tikke difficult bani deche, तो सेकेंड हाफ में टिके सिंपल क्वेश्चन ही रखी ताकि कॉन्फिडेंस न भांगी जाओ. अदरवाइज जो 2 वर्ष तले जो कट ऑफ जाइथिला सम लेस देन 60 मार्क्स, दैट cannot be an ideal question paper. Okay, how can you cut off of such a high level exam be less than 60 marks? Mane, you are telling the students you are not good enough to score even 30% in the exam. Does that make any sense? Okay, so ମୁଁ ସେଥିପାଇଁ ଟିକେ ରଖିଥିଲି କି ସମସ୍ତେ ଏଟଲିଷ୍ଟ 90 100 range ରେ ସ୍କୋର କରିପାରିବେ ଏଇ କ୍ୱେଶ୍ଚନ୍ ପେପର. ସେଥିପାଇଁ ପ୍ରାୟ ଏଠି both all ଏମିତି କେତେଟା वाला क्वेश्चन ଅଛି सेकेंड हाफ रे. फर्स्ट हाफ वाज अ बिट मोर डिफिकल्ट. A district in Odisha has been, again, case study question, a public policy question. Okay. A district in Odisha has been facing rising child malnutrition rates despite having several government schemes on paper. A new district magistrate initiates a convergence model combining health, education and food security schemes under a single tracking dashboard. गोटे district थिला, malnutrition rates बहुत high थिला. नुआ कलेक्टर आसिला, नुआ मॉडल इंप्लीमेंट कला, हेल्थ एजुकेशन एंड फूड सिक्योरिटी को अंडर वन ट्रैकिंग डैशबोर्ड आणला. आफ्टर 6 months things started improving. Which part of public policy is best illustrated by above scenario? Policy formulation? No. So जेतेबेले एठी brainstorm करथबो, that would have been policy formulation. This is policy implementation. He has already implemented it. Legislative ordering, agenda setting, no. All these are useless options. The answer is policy implementation. Public policy questions एमती simple ही रहइबो. न पढ़ी गले भी जदि टिके आपन माइंड खोला रखिबे, you will be able to solve it. Okay. You just have to mark the correct answer. छाड़ी के आसीबेनी. Which of the following best describes game theory in the context of public policy? Now this is thoda sa slightly tough, but let's see if we can work out something. A set of rules for managing sports events with public funding. They want you to believe that because they have this word called game, but no, this cannot be it. Okay, जेतेबेले एते obvious हे जिवो option अपन जानिबे जे एटा निश्चय wrong हेथिबो. A technique to assign roles in public private partnerships. Public policy, a technique to assign roles in public private partnerships. Maybe I cannot directly eliminate it. A model used to calculate government budgets for social welfare schemes. A method to predict, no. Eliminate Korea difficult. You have to know the exact answer here. The answer is a method to predict how individuals or governments behave in strategic situations involving mutual decisions. Okay, basically gamification of scenarios. If I can give you a small example, देखो एठू आम एग्जांपल बाहर करिया. मेथड टू प्रेडिक्ट हाउ इंडिविजुअल्स और गवर्नमेंट्स बिहेव इन स्ट्रेटेजिक सिचुएशंस इन्वॉल्विंग म्यूचुअल डिसीजंस. सपोज आम हेल्थ पॉलिसी को नेले. ओके, हेल्थ पॉलिसी रे प्लेयर्स के गेम थ्योरी ना, तो प्लेयर्स रहिबे. प्लेयर्स हेले इंश्योरेंस प्रोवाइडर्स. ओके, प्लेयर्स हेले हॉस्पिटल्स. प्लेयर्स हेले पेशेंट्स. ठीक, दिस इज अंडरस्टूड. आपको ये खाली स्पेस को नहीं गले बेटर हम और जगह मिल जाओ. यस, दिस इज अंडरस्टूड. ओके, नाउ पेशेंट रो कौन रहिबो कि मु याठू मैक्सिमम पैसा बाहर करेबी, मैक्सिमाइज पे आउट फ्रॉम द इंश्योरेंस कंपनी. ओके, यांकर एम कौन रहिबो, मिनिमाइज पे आउट. मु एमती सब क्लॉज बाहर करी कहबी ना एटा अलाउ कोनी, एटा मु अलाउ करिबिनी, एटा भी मु अलाउ करिबिनी, आ पाई मु पैसा दे परिबिनी, सॉरी तांकर प्रॉफिट विल बी द मिनिमम. ये हॉस्पिटल्स कौन कौन रहिबो, ये दी जण तांकर बाड़ाबाड़ी हुंतु, मु मोर बिल मैक्सिमाइज करी, मो बिल्स एकदम हाई रहिबो, बढ़िया चार्ज करी. इवन दो सम ऑफ दोस चार्जेस डू नॉट मेक एनी सेंस, 2 लाख टका फॉर अ टेस्ट, 3 लाख टका फॉर अ टेस्ट, बट मु बिल्स मैक्सिमाइज करी. तुम अपना आपस में देख लो कौन पैसे दे रहा है, मुझे अपने पैसे से मतलब है. नाउ दिस इज गेमिफिकेशन. ओके, नाउ एटी गवर्नमेंट आसीबो, गवर्नमेंट म्यूचुअली एया लिखा है राइट, a method to predict how individuals or governments behave in strategic situations involving mutual decisions. एठी जे जहाँ भी decide करिबो, one cannot be independent of the other. Eventually he has to set some parameters, eventually he has to follow some rules, eventually he has to pay some values. Okay, सब किछि तो values एमान को भी follow करिया को पड़िबो. ये तो कोई परिबनी कोटी टका फॉर अ टेस्ट, बिकॉज ताल तो लोक कई आसीबेनी. जेतिकी पेशेंट दे पारिबो ये सेतिकी चार्ज करिबो, जेतिकी इंश्योरेंस कंपनी दे पारिबो ये सेतिकी चार्ज करिबो. सो दिस होल थिंग इज गेम थ्योरी. सो इवेंचुअली गवर्नमेंट विल स्टेप इन, सीए इंश्योरेंस प्रोवाइडर्स को कहबो कि नहीं तमे एतिकी परसेंट जे सब मे बी पुअर पीपल अछंती तांको पई आमे दोछु इंश्योरेंस, यू पे देम. पेशेंट्स को कहबो कि इफ यू कैन अफोर्ड इट then beyond 20 lakhs आमे तमर इंश्योरेंस कवर करि परिबोनी, beyond 20 lakhs तमे तम पॉकेट रो पे करो, 20 lakhs पर्यंत जहाँ अच्छी आमे सब पे करिबु. एंड हॉस्पिटल्स को कहबो कि देखो तमे बिल बेसी एक्सॉर्बिटेंटली चार्ज करोनी, मेक इट रीजनेबल. एंड सो दिस होल गेमिफिकेशन विल ब्रिंग यू टू अ सस्टेनेबल सॉल्यूशन. दिस इज गेम थ्योरी. ओके, या What is the primary objective of recently announced O Sampark policy? Eta budget announce hetla for the Odia diaspora through structured cultural and economic initiatives. तांको संगे engage करिया पाए. भुवनेश्वर रे एबे I think प्रवासी भारतीय वाला गोटे इवेंट भी ऑर्गेनाइज करथिले. Around same time रे all these events took place. The answer is O Sampark, Odia structured cultural and economic initiatives. Okay. World Environment Day 2025 revolved around putting an end to plastic pollution. A वर्ष World Environment Day, which is June 5th. Okay, ठीक है, ताको don't forget that date, very important. Say no to plastic. Sorry. Say no to plastic is the answer. Okay. Republic of Korea was the one which hosted the event. Jeju province रे हेतला. Plastic free pollution by free of plastic pollution by 2040 is their target. UNEP is the body. Putting an end to plastic solution was the theme. Current affairs question. Demography अच्छी syllabus रे अच्छी. India's demographic trend, consider the following statements. India's total fertility is estimated to be above the replacement level, indicating continued population growth driven by high birth rates. No, we have moved below the TFR, which is 2.1. Our TFR right now is almost 1.9, and so high birth rates amara nahi. Yes, southern states to nahi, northern states रे केतेटा अच्छी, but they are also decreasing. बहुत ही मैंने 5-6 जोटी बर्थ रेट थिला से एबे 3.1 2.9 एमती सब वैल्यूज को खसे आसलानी. And maybe in another 20-30 years they will also be under TFR. We will go the Japan way eventually by 2060. Okay. So despite a declining fertility rate, India still enjoys a demographic dividend due to its large working age population. Yes. एया ही एबे पॉलिसी मेकर्स को कुहा होची कि नेक्स्ट 30 वर्ष रे जहाँ अच्छी ए पॉपुलेशन वर्किंग पॉपुलेशन जदि यही 30 वर्ष को तुम एम्प्लॉयमेंट क्रिएट करी कि न एक्सप्लॉइट कल न इंडिया रो यू नो इंडिया बेनिफिट पे जदि न ताको पॉलिसी जदि न आणल ताले you are going to miss the opportunity, you are going to miss the bus. So this is correct. The answer is 2 only. Some statistics are there. Let me just briefly take you through them. India's working age population makes up about 68% of the total population at this point. Okay, but this will not always be true. ଏବେ ସିନା ଆମେ 25 ବର୍ଷ 30 ବର୍ଷ 35 ବର୍ଷ ଏଜ୍ରେ ଅଛେ 30 ବର୍ଷ ପରେ ଆମମାନେ will enter the 60-70 years वाला एज. ओके एंड आम पछरे जो माने अछंती तांकर बर्थ रेट कमी गलानी. दे विल नॉट रिप्लेस अस. सो not every person will have a like for like replacement. Maybe every 3 persons will be replaced by 2 persons, which means working age total quota total share will go down, and another 40 years ahuri kami jibo. Every 4 people will be replaced by 1 people. So negative population rate. And again demographic theory re se sabu advanced studies, you do not need to go into such details. Maybe in some other context we'll talk. But this is what it is. Right now we have a demographic dividend because ebbe amara working population is 68%. In 2025, India's population is estimated to be approximately 1.46 billion. As of 2025, 37.1% of India's population resides in urban areas. I don't know why, but I have given these facts. If they ask, you should not get surprised. Okay. In 2024, the sex ratio was approximately 1068 males for every 1000 females. Okay. I may again discuss kariba prelims purburu all these demographic trends, each section of demographic trends. Ethi just keteda facts mu ethi likhi dechi just so that your mind is open. Okay. Okay, now we are entering economy. So that takes care of public policy, environment, demography. Now we are entering economy. Mixed economy is characterized by coexistence of private ownership and the state ownership of the means of production. This is correct. In the socialist economy, the government plays a regulatory role to ensure welfare of people in a society. No, socialist economy re government is the sole player. Okay, regulatory role केबे आसीबो जेतेबेले private entities अछंती government तांको regulate करूछ. But socialist is all about government taking care of the welfare of the people by its own. Okay, pura personally. So this statement is wrong. The capitalist economic system can lead to inequalities of wealth and income in an economy. This is correct, and hence the answer is only 2 statements are correct. Okay, so ATAJU plays a regulatory role is wrong. Mixed economy, government bhi achi, private bhi achi, coexist koruchandi. Coexist of private ownership and state ownership of the means of production. Very straightforward, very simple question. Which one of the following environmental factors are considered while estimating a country's green GDP? What is green GDP? आमे एबे गोटे फैक्ट्री रो आउटपुट को नहीं कि जीडीपी कैलकुलेट करछे, बट से फैक्ट्री बहुत सारा हार्म भी करछी, एनवायरनमेंट को पोल्यूट भी करछी. से फैक्ट्री छिड़ा करिया पई 20 एकर्स रो डिफोरेस्टेशन भी करिया को पड़थिला. सो से सब जिंस हमें नौने हिसाब को नौने तो सेई सब जिंस को टैबलेट करिया पई वैल्यू करिया पई यू हैव अ कांसेप्ट कॉल्ड ग्रीन जीडीपी. तो वॉट एवर द जीडीपी इज से थ्रू केते जिनस हमें माइनस कर दो. ओके, सो डिप्लीशन ऑफ मिनरल रिसोर्सेस. यस, मिनरल एतिकी कोल एतिकी स्टील एतिकी ये हैला एतिकी सेल हैला एतिकी जीडीपी आसला. ओके, बट सेतिकी जोरे डिप्लीशन भी होची. ओके, इवेंचुअली सरी जीवो सेतल कोन करिवो. सो दैट इज वन. नेट लॉस ऑफ फॉरेस्ट कवर लाइक आई सेड 2. Opportunity cost associated with energy resource depletion, same jinsa but another variable, opportunity cost 3. Economic damage due to particulate emissions 4. Economic damage माने जहाँ भी pollution हैला ता जगू केतेटा buildings became केतेटा infrastructure became damaged. Okay, so because of that आउ 20 वर्ष परे नुआ infrastructure create करिया पड़िबो, नुआ buildings create करिया पड़िबो because of what the particulate emissions are doing. So that is economic damage. Environmental cost of carbon dioxide emissions 5. All. The answer is all. Very straightforward. एथे किछि माने बुझियार किछि जिंस नाही. Circular economy, another easy peasy lemon squeezy. Repair, recycle, reusing. Okay, कौन कहबे हो सर्कुलर इकोनॉमी तो समझते ही जानते हुए अपन मैंने. यू कैन नॉट गेट दिस क्वेश्चन रॉन्ग. Okay, this question was based on a numerical that UPSC asked this year. Let's see. A local farmer produced 5,000 kg of rice, sold at rupees 20 per kg. Half was consumed by his family and the rest was sold in the local market. ठीक है. And a handloom unit produced 100 saris, each sold at rupees 400. All were sold directly to consumers. ଏବେ ପଚରା ହେଇଛି calculate the GDP. ଠିକ ଅଛି. So ଏଠି ଆମେ ଦେଖୁଛେ 500 kg of rice at 20 per kg. That would be 500 into 20 is equal to 10,000. But half was consumed by his family. And GDP is all about the final output. Okay. So internal consumption is not calculated in it. So through half हमें minus कर दवा. So we are left with 5,000. A handloom unit produced 100 saris at 400 rupees each. That's 40,000. And hence the answer is 45,000. Okay. CSAT and GS mixed to make a question. एथरो UPSC भी सेया करिछि. So I thought why not introduce a new kind of question here also. Another case study based question. Meena worked for over a decade as a coal miner in a remote district. Okay. Following a government policy shift towards renewable energy, several coal mines were permanently closed. Okay. Despite her experience, Meena has been unable to find employment as she lacks the skills required in growing solar and wind energy sectors. So, conventional energy sources are now being closed because of policy shift. ଏବେ ସବୁ ନୂଆ ଟାଇପ୍ସ ଅଫ୍ ଏନର୍ଜି ସୋର୍ସେସକୁ ବଢ଼ାवा ଦିଆ ହେଉଛି सोलार विंड एटसेट्रा. मीना पाखरे स्किल्स नहीं टू फाइंड अ जॉब इन दीज सेक्टर्स. Which of the following best describes Meena's unemployment situation? Structural, cyclical, frictional, seasonal. टिके concepts जानिथिले ही question solve होबो. The answer is structural. Cyclical would have been जदि मीना farmer थांता. नहीं, sorry. That's seasonal, sorry. Cyclical would have been जदि ए सबु mines temporarily close हो जाइथांता. हाँ, pollution बहुत बढ़ी जाइछि. Temporarily close हो जाइछि. But again the mines will open after a few months. That's cyclical. Okay. Seasonal employment would have been if Meena was a farmer. जे कि खरीफ क्रॉप्स जनरली हार्वेस्ट करे. ओके. मीना वाज अ फार्मर एंड ड्यूरिंग विंटर तांकर किसी काम नहीं तो सीए जाइकी शी इज अनएम्प्लॉयड. दैट्स सीजनल अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट. फ्रिक्शनल अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट जदि मीना निजे कही था कि मु आठी चाकरी करी मु भल अपॉर्चुनिटी खोजी. ओके. मु ओएस हेबी मु आ माइंस चाकरी करी. तो से जो टाइमटा बिटवीन her leaving mines to becoming OS is frictional, is considered frictional unemployment. This is structural unemployment. Structural unemployment is when you are simply not good enough for getting a job. Okay. So mu ebe civil engineering karichi but mu gote AI company re apply karibi bhai mate please gote chakri de diyo. Se koibe bhai kon skills jancho mu kichhi koi paribini. That's structural unemployment. Times are changing. Civil engineers are maybe not needed like they used to be anymore. So in order to get a corporate job, maybe I need to do an MBA or need to get into some sort of course, some data analytics course or something. Skills पाइले ही मते चाकरी मिलिबो. Skills माने acquire कले ही मते चाकरी मिलिबो. तो until then I am structurally unemployed. Okay. Clear concepts. Assertion reason again. India is increasingly focusing on the development of the silver economy to address the needs of its aging population. Yes, silver economy, silver because of the color of the hair economy. कि हाँ ठीक अच्छी aging population धीरे धीरे जेहेतु होची we have to plan for both the demographic dividend जोड़ा एबे अच्छी. At the same time, people who are aging at the age of 60 also, in general, they have at least 10 to 15 years of productivity left in them. Not in the same way that a 30-year-old goes about his time, but at least किछि तो तांको एमती प्रोडक्टिव करे हबो जोथरे तांको इनकम भी हबो. आम जीडी को भी वैल्यू एडिशन जीडीपी को भी वैल्यू एडिशन हबो. And all those old age symptoms or old age diseases, Alzheimer's, loneliness, depression, okay, all these will be kept at bay because they will be involved, they will be mentally working. So silver economy pai India is increasingly focusing. This assertion is correct. Reason, India's elderly population is increasingly adopting digital technology for accessing services and social engagement. Yes, this is also correct. आम जेजेबापा जेजेमा मो जेजेबापा जेजेमा टाइम रे व्हाट्सएप से मैंने चले पारिबे मो आई कुड नॉट एक्सपेक्ट बट आममानंको जे सबु मो जेनरेशन रो सबु पेरेंट्स मो पिला मो छुआ तांको पेरेंट्स जे कि मो माँ बापा तांको ग्रैंड पेरेंट्स मो माँ बापा दे विल बी एबल टू chat on WhatsApp. They will be able to ask chat GPT for some sort of question or answer. So they are increasingly adopting digital technology. Okay, this is also correct. But is this explaining this one? No. These are just two standalone facts about aging population. But this is not explaining this one. India's elder population is increasingly adopting digital technology for accessing services. Hence, India is increasingly focusing on the development of silver economy. No, no, no. ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं है. Okay. India is aging at a very fast rate. India's population rate is declining at a very fast rate. Hence, India is increasingly focusing on the development of silver economy. Those are two separate things. So both A and R are true, but R is not the correct explanation of A. Answer is B. In the context of poverty analysis, poverty gap is a measure of, okay, the answer is ratio by which the mean income of poor falls below the poverty line. So is 87. तार गोटे एग्जांपल मु क्रिएट करिछि एठी बोली मु देखे देबी डायरेक्ट एटा या poverty gap of 10% माने the average poor person's income is 10% less than the poverty line. Okay, this is the whole science or the whole definition behind it. Ratio or average shortfall of the income of poor from the poverty line. Poverty line is, for example, rupees 40 per day. Okay, but average income, poverty gap of 10% means average poor person's income is 10% below the poverty line. Tamane average income is rupees 36 per day. Okay, if this is the case, then we say this gap, this poverty gap is 10%. Okay, this is the average, this is the stipulated poverty line. That's the whole concept of poverty gap. Reserve Bank of India recently increased the repo rate by 50 basis points in response to rising inflation. Increased the repo rate. Okay, first of all, what's repo rate? It's the interest rate at which RBI provides funds to banks. Okay, तो increase the repo rate माने मु जदि RBI जदि banks को loan दौची तामाने banks will have to pay a higher interest. So cost of funds is getting higher, is getting costlier. Okay, etiki basic re. Let's move forward. Following this move, which of the following outcomes are most likely to occur in the short term? Commercial banks may increase lending rates for home and personal loans. Yes, जदि तांकु लोन नवा पई अधिका इंटरेस्ट रेट पडुची and they want to still keep their profit margins intact. Of course, they are capitalists. They want to keep their profit margins intact. So they will increase the lending rates. Correct. Okay. अम्मानु जो लोन से माने देबे सेथरे भी इंटरेस्ट रेट से माने बढ़ेबे. Consumer demand may decline due to higher borrowing costs. Yes, जदि मु एबे घर करिया को जाउची मते 5% या 6% होम लोन मिलुतला but हठात से माने कर देले 7%. Now loan of maybe 10,000 rupees at 6%, 7% doesn't matter much. But loan of 1 crore rupees or 2 crore rupees to buy a home at 6% and the same thing at 7%. Now sethre lakhs ro difference aschibo. So I'll think tike rahi ja baba pun tike kami jao interest rate tapare mu nebi. So consumer demand may decline due to higher borrowing costs. Correct. This is correct. The rupee may strengthen due to increased foreign capital flows. Now this is thoda sa pechida, thoda sa difficult to understand. If you know the basics, let me try. Okay, let me try. Nuwa page re. See what's happening. there are two ways of overcoming this increased cost of funds. So RBI interest rate बढ़े देला for loans to banks. Okay, banks ro cost of funds has gone up. So what banks can do, they can do two things. One, जोटा एबे आमे कहले फर्स्ट दुटा ऑप्शन रे इंक्रीज इंटरेस्ट रेट्स टुवर्ड्स द कंज्यूमर्स, को इंटरेस्ट रेट बढ़ेबो, लोन्स रो इंटरेस्ट रेट बढ़ेबो एंड ओके लोन्स रो इंटरेस्ट रेट बढ़ेबो. आउ गोटे वे हैला increase the interest rates on fixed deposits. Okay, increase the interest rates on government bonds. So एथरे कोन हबो, लोक आसी जो एफडी करेंगे पैसा आंक पाखे रखिए तो दे विल हैव दैट लिक्विड मनी टू इन्वेस्ट इन समथिंग एल्स, सो दैट ये जो कॉस्ट कटिंग है जो कॉस्टली पड़ेगा से आउ कौटू से मैंने हेज करके से पैसा वापस पाइबे. ओके, तो फिक्स्ड डिपोजिट्स और गवर्नमेंट बॉन्ड्स रे भी इंटरेस्ट रेट बढ़ो, लोन्स रे भी इंटरेस्ट रेट बढ़ो. दुटा जिनस ये लोन बैंक गवर्नमेंट को बैंक कंज्यूमर को दौची. ओके, बट ये जो जिनस कंज्यूमर बैंक को पैसा दौचे कि नियो मोर 50,000 टंका 8% फिक्स्ड इंटरेस्ट रेट रे मो एतिक वर्ष पर नेबी मु तुमको देदेली, एमती करी हजार हजार लोक को आसिक देबे. एंड जो हजार हजार लोक 50,000 ना देबे तो बैंक विल इवेंचुअली हैव समवेयर से 50 कोटी टका, 500 कोटी टका, 5,000 कोटी टका. ओके, ना से 5,000 कोटी टका रु 1,000 कोटी टका इन सम इन्वेस्टमेंट स्कीम, 1,000 कोटी टका इन सम इन्वेस्टमेंट स्कीम, 2,000 कोटी टका मे भी रखा पड़ो इन केस सम पीपल कम बैक एंड से कि नहीं नहीं मते मो पैसा दरकार. सब तो से माने इन्वेस्ट करि परिबेनी, किंतु 3,000 करोड़ से माने इन्वेस्ट कर देले एंड से इन्वेस्ट करी कि से तांकर अलगा प्रॉफिट्स कमेले. ओके, तो ये जो जिनसटा they have now solved it, this problem, cost of funds getting higher. So both these things will happen. Okay, now now thing here is ये जो जिनसटा ये हम IR fixed deposits and government bonds जो बढ़ो. Now suppose there is an American here, US रे बसची, proper investor, money investor, he invest all around the world. सेठी तांकू 5% गवर्नमेंट बॉन्ड ऊपर इंटरेस्ट रेट मिलू. ओके, बट से हठात शुणला कि इंडिया रे एबे 7% चलची. ओके, सो सी कौन कर से तार एठिकार जहाँ भी इन्वेस्टमेंट्स थिला, जहाँ भी पैसा थिला, ओके, से पैसा को एबे पठेबो इंडिया को, से यही बॉन्ड्स गुड़ा किनिया स्टार्ट करिवो. से पैसा पठेबो माने कोन, से INR तो पठेबोनी, से डॉलर पठेबो. ओके, एंड व्हेन मोर डॉलर्स स्टार्ट कमिंग इन to the Indian country, rupee will strengthen. Okay, why rupee is strengthening? Because dollar will create a demand for rupee. Okay, anything रो जिते वाले demand बढ़े तारो दाम बढ़े. Okay, so rupee will strengthen and hence this option, rupee may strengthen due to increased foreign capital inflows. Answer is 1, 2, 3. I hope the concept was clear. Okay. Core inflation, assertion reasoning. Core inflation is measured to study the long-term trend in the price rise and frame long-term policies to control inflation. Yes. Core inflation is always minus the very, how do I say it? Variable ones. Okay. जोटा कि शॉर्ट टर्म रे चेंज होता है, खाना तेल एटसेट्रा. ओके, ये सब कोर इन्फ्लेशन, लॉन्ग टर्म ट्रेंड इन द प्राइस राइजेस फ्रॉम टू फ्रेम लॉन्ग टर्म पॉलिसीज. कोर इन्फ्लेशन एक्सक्लूड्स द प्राइस राइज ऑफ दोज प्रोडक्ट्स हुज प्राइजेस आर वेरी वोलाटाइल एंड टेम्पररी इन नेचर. ओके, so yes, since this is the thing, it is explaining this, hence it is measured for framing long term policies. Okay. Core inflation, identify underlying long-term price levels. The reason लिखा है it involves excluding items from the main inflation baskets who are known to be highly volatile and subject to temporary shocks. The most commonly excluded categories are food and energy. कहेंगे because এই वर्ष जदि वर्षा भल से हेलानी तो मे बी कोठी पियाजर दाम, टमाटर दाम, ये सब जिनसर दाम बहुत आज 60 मिलूँ काली 100 टका हो पद्म पुणी 50 टका हो पुणी 120 टका हो ऑल दोज एस्पेक्ट्स एंड वाई एनर्जी बिकॉज ऑफ वाई हाउ कंट्रीज आर फाइटिंग दिस डेज ये तो आगुरी तो एते फाइट भी नथिला आजकल तो फाइट भी होची तो हुज टू से काली को रेड सी रो किछि गोटे इश्यू हे जिवनी या फिर मेडिटेरेनियन रो किछि गोटे इश्यू हे जिवनी या फिर इंडिया रो एनर्जी एक्सपोर्ट्स आवरी कॉस्टली हे जिवनी तो लॉन्ग टर्म रे जिनस गुड़ा जदि नबार अछि एमतिया वोलेटाइल जिनस गुड़ा को हमको एक्सक्लूड करिया पड़िबो ओके and hence this is explaining this one. Answer is both are correct and R explains A. Who of the following is not a characteristic of a willful defaulter? So you have to picture someone like Malia here and then logically try and see kon he paribo kon no he paribo. The borrower has the capacity to repay the loan but chooses not to do so. Yes, तांका पाखरे पैसा अच्छी एटलिस्ट 30-40% भी पे करियार पैसा अच्छी बट ना से पैसा रे से माने जाइकी यूके करेबियंस रे बसिकी तांकर रिच लाविश लाइफस्टाइल एंजॉय करिवे पैसा फेरेबेनी सो इट इज अ कैरेक्टरिस्टिक एंड हेंस आमको पचराई नॉट अ कैरेक्टरिस्टिक हेंस दिस कैन नॉट बी एन ऑप्शन द borrower has diverted the funds for purposes other than for which the loan was taken yes this is also willful defaulter willfully I am doing things ମୁଁ ନେଇଥିଲି ଘର ଲୋନ୍ ପାଇଁ ବଟ୍ ମୁଁ ତାକୁ ଦେଇଦେଲି ଗୋଟେ ଗ୍ୟାମଲିଂ ଆପ୍ରେ ମୁଁ ଡ୍ରିମ୍ ଇଲେଭେନ୍ରେ ଟିମ୍ ବନେଇଦେଲି ଏମିତି 100ଟା ବଟ୍ ସେ ପଇସା ମୋତେ ସାଙ୍କସନ୍ ହେଇଥିଲା ମୋ ଘର ଲୋନ୍ ପାଇଁ ସୋ ଦ୍ୟାଟ୍ସ willful defaulting ବିକଜ ମୁଁ ଫେରେଇ ପାରିବିନି ଓକେ the borrower has siphoned off funds such that assets financed are not available ମୁଁ ନ ଜଣେଇକି ଯେଉଁ ଘରକୁ ଆଜ୍ ଅ କୋଲାଟ୍ରାଲ୍ ଦେଇଥିଲି ସେ ଘରକୁ ହିଁ ବିକି ଦେଇଛି ଆଣ୍ଡ ଗାୟବ ହେଇଯାଇଛି these are all willful defaulters wala thing the answer is none of the above okay RBI ro kichi gote technical definition solution capacity to pay diversion of funds siphoning of funds disposal of secured assets failure to infuse equity yeah all these are the characteristics of willful defaulter as defined by RBI the answer is none of the above Odisha's labor force participation rate is higher than all India level. The per capita income of Odisha is lower than all India average. कौन लाउची कोड़ा ठीक है थी वो कोड़ा भूली थी वो I think this is correct, this is wrong. Yes. Okay. Exact statistics I'll tell you in a minute. Labor force participation is higher than all India average. Per capita income is lower than all India average. এটা 7,000 কেতে এটা 8,000 কেতে just a minute yes oh both are correct sorry my bad for the fiscal ए सब economic survey रो data okay my bad ମୁଁ ବି ମଣିଷ ବେଳେବେଳେ ଭୁଲି ଯାଏ କେତେଟା ଜିନିଷ these are trends according to Odisha's economic survey labor force participation rate for individuals aged 15 and above in Odisha stood at 64.9%. All India average is 58%. Okay. For the fiscal year 2024-25, Odisha's per capita income is estimated to be 1,82,000. All India per capita is 2,162,000. So this is lower. This is higher. And hence both statements are correct. Okay. आउरी माने आम इकोनॉमिक सेक्शनल टेस्ट रे या फिर परे रिवीजन टेस्ट रे एमती इकोनॉमिक सर्वे को नहीं कि भलो भलो आउरी फैक्ट्स को नहीं कि आई विल मेक क्वेश्चंस दिस इज a very much possible question okay they can ask you this so both are correct my bad what is the correct descending order of sectoral contribution to Odisha's gross state value added in 2024-25 the answer is industries greater than agriculture greater than allies this is 40 something this is 30 something this is 20 something okay this is 43.9 37.1 and 19% agriculture services industry both these questions directly picked up from economic survey but I think for you it's just not enough to know which one is just the highest 1 2 3 ranking for you these values are also important 43.9 37.1 19% all these values are also important take मन रखिया पड़ो you have no other choice which is why being a mentor is easy बुझला ମୁଁ ଯେତେବେଳେ ଷ୍ଟୁଡେଣ୍ଟ ଥିଲି ମୋର ବି ଫାଟୁଥିଲା ବଟ୍ ଏବେ I can have the liberty to just read something if I don't remember it because ମୁଁ ସେ ଷ୍ଟେଜ୍ରୁ ବାହାରିଗଲାଣି ବଟ୍ ଆପଣମାନେ OS IAS whatever your dream is you have to take that extra step to and make that extra struggle. SDG, very common question. Affordable, reliable, sustainable and modern energy for all. This is SDG 7. ଆଉ ବାକି ଗୁଡ଼ା ବି ଆମେ ଦେଖିଦେବା. Ensuring the SDG 6 is management of water and sanitation for all. 7 is energy for all. 11 is cities and human settlements. 13 is combat climate change and its impact. 1 to 17 all you have to remember. Okay, no other choice. So that completes this thing. Now we are entering science. ठीक जेमती से माने basics science रो basics पूरा पचारंती प्राय one-liner questions था. We'll just finish them in a hurry quickly. Why does the boiling point of water decrease at higher altitudes? The temperature is lower at higher altitudes. No. Air is less humid at higher altitudes. No. Gravitational force is weak. This is so you completely useless. The answer is atmospheric pressure is lower at higher altitudes. This makes sense and is also correct. If I can explain to you, let me see. This is sea level. Okay. At sea level, this is sea level. Okay. This is ground level. 0 meters रह चुका मैं. तो एट ही जो dotted line use करें. एट ही जो atmospheric column टा अच्छी. Okay. This is exerting some pressure downwards on the water. Okay. Boiling केतेବେଳେ हबो? ଯେତେବେଳେ vapor pressure is greater than the atmospheric pressure. Okay. This is required. Now, this is sea level. The same thing, जदि आमे आउटे के higher altitude रहइबा. Suppose आमे 1000 meter altitude रे अछु. गोटे पहाड़ अच्छी एंड ता ऊपर आमे ई वैली रे अछु या फिर पहाड़ रो टॉप रे अछु. This is 1000 meters. Okay. So, एठी the same जो column ता हाइट कमी गला. ता हाइट कमी गले ये जो प्रेशर एठी एक्सर्ट करथुला तळकू, this pressure also has decreased. Okay. So now the vapor pressure required to overcome the atmospheric pressure will also decrease, and hence the boiling point of water decreases at higher altitudes because the weight of this column is decreasing. A column जोड़ा आगुरु x meters थिला, x meters high थिला, now this column has become x minus y meters high. जेहेतु तार प्रेशर कमी होला तार hence पानी को boil करिया पे कम energy दरकार. This is the whole science behind atmospheric pressure and boiling of water. Okay. Another factual question. The answer is atmospheric pressure. Which vitamin deficiency impairs blood clotting? General Science, class 8, 9, 10 CBSE and both Odisha government. Answer is vitamin K. Prothrombin, I guess is the word. Yes, prothrombin, which is the factor 2, also known as factor 2, is a protein produced in the liver that is critical component of blood coagulation cascade. Vitamin K acts as a necessary cofactor for an enzyme that enables the synthesis of functional prothrombin. एटा हमको मिलूची लीफी वेजिटेबल्स खाइले एंड इवन मीट रे भी अच्छे इन स्मॉल ये, बट लीफी वेजिटेबल्स इज द मेजर सोच, spinach वगैरह and all those things. Which of the following is a correct characteristic of a superconductor? It allows partial magnetic field penetration below its critical temperature. No. There is something called Meissner effect. ये सबू again किसी factual and किसीटा conceptual. Meissner effects रे पूरा magnetic field is being expelled, so the answer, the partial magnetic field, is wrong. Okay. It exhibits zero electrical resistance below its critical temperature. This is the correct answer. It conducts electricity with negligible but non-zero resistance. No. This is exactly zero resistance. So this statement is wrong. It becomes a perfect insulator at very low temperatures. No, this is perfect conductor. Hence the term superconductor. बार बार पढ़ी भी ए जिनसटा एलिमिनेट अपन करि परिबे. ओके. सो Meissner effect कोन? A key characteristic of superconductors is the Meissner effect, where they actively expel magnetic fields from their interior when they transition into superconducting state. So seti jo partially lekha hai, that is wrong. The resistance in a superconductor is not just very small, it is precisely zero, hence C is incorrect. And it is a perfect conductor, not an insulator. Why B is correct? Basically, B is the definition of a superconductor. When cooled below a specific temperature known as the critical temperature, it undergoes a phase transition and loses all electrical resistance. This means an electric current can flow through it indefinitely without any loss of energy to heat or other forms. This property of zero electrical resistance is the defining feature of superconductivity. Okay, basic question that they can test you about. As of 2025, which of the following cathode chemistries is most prevalent in batteries for long range electrical vehicles? Okay, it is sodium ion or nickel cadmium को हमें काटी दवा because we know कि lithium तो involved अच्छी ही अच्छी confusion हबो A और C रे. Okay, long range रा answer होची C. If it was short range or regular range, then A might have been the answer. But long range रे lithium, nickel, manganese, cobalt, oxide. Okay. Because of their high energy density, which allows for more driving range. Iron phosphate is preferred choice for standard range and lower cost EVs, scooty wooty and all those things. But जो car जाऊची long term वाला, long distance वाला, से सबुथिरे you have this thing: nickel, lithium, nickel, manganese, cobalt, oxide. एबे रिसेंटली नासार गोटे फोटोग्राफर ISS एबे लास्ट 5-6 डेज पर एबे भी जदि आपण गूगल करेबे स्प्राइट्स नासा गोटे न्यूज आर्टिकल आसीजिवो. What are sprites in the context of atmospheric phenomena? This is a large scale electrical discharge that occurs high above the thunderstorm clouds. Okay, so ISS माने भाबंतु एटा से उपरु देखुची अर्थ को, एटा मेक्सिको US पाखे he saw this happening. Okay, it's a very rare phenomena. Mexico US border. A NASA astronaut recently photographed a sprite above US and Mexico from the International Space Station. Occurs in the upper atmosphere, specifically the mesosphere. This is a possible question. Ko sphere reta hochi. Okay, at altitudes of 50 to 90 kilometers. Traditional lightning no hai. Cold plasma phenomenon, typically triggered by powerful positive cloud to ground lightning strikes from thunderstorm below. Okay, mechanism is very complex, so I don't think you need to go deeper. You just need to have this awareness: mesosphere, sprites and all those things. जदि भी mechanism को भी say hailstorm वाला mechanism, what is positive cloud charging, what is negative cloud thunder and all those aspects को हमको पसेव पड़ियो. तो I don't think that's advisable because this is a very rare phenomena. Max to max AI पचारी बेसे मैंने. Okay. Which of the following is synthesized in the human body that dilates blood vessels and increases blood flow? Answer is nitric oxide. This whole process is known as vasodilation. Okay, dilates blood vessel को dilate करके increases blood flow, vasodilation. The answer is nitric oxide. If you can see, mu jemti UPSC current affairs jemti science related पचारे मु सेमती न पचारी कि जेमती OPSC क्लास 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 जो CBSE बॉयज जो क्वेश्चन गुड़ा मु सेमतिया ही क्वेश्चन गुड़ा एठी पचारिछि. एटा तो UPSC रो प्रीवियस ईयर क्वेश्चन ही. ओके, UPSC also ask this, but they also go to missiles and satellites and all those aspects, tankoro scientific aspects, but OPSC doesn't do this. OPSC पता नहीं चिंदी चिंदी छुआ मानकर क्वेश्चन पचारे जोटा कि आमे भूली सारलेनी आ जाको कि पढ़िबा को जनरली इनर्शिया हमर बहुत इनर्शिया थाए. But if that is how it is, then we must accept it. So these are all that kind of questions. Giant stars live, the last question, finally. Giant stars live much longer than dwarf stars. Assertion. Reason: compared to dwarf stars, giant stars have a greater rate of nuclear reactions. This is correct, this is incorrect. The lifespan of a star is inversely related to its mass. giant stars जेहेतु giant है significantly more massive than dwarf have a much shorter lifespan. All you need to remember. Okay. And since they have very high immense mass, it creates extremely high pressure and temperature in their cores. These conditions lead to a much greater and more rapid rate of nuclear fusion compared to smaller, cooler dwarf stars. Hence, A is false, R is true. And so that brings us to the end of this marathon discussion. And just stay connected to us. ଆମ Telegram channel ରେ ଆହୁରି ଆମେ ଏମିତି ବହୁତ ସାରା free tests upload କରିବୁ. If you are interested in buying our prelims test series, contact us. Telegram channel, prelims test series, all details are in the comment section. Let me know if you like this teaching style of referring to everything that is there out there rather than saying everything from the mind, because I think this is more dynamic. Pictures dekhiba, constitution dekhiba, all these aspects make you think more, make it more understandable, make it more relatable. But if you want me to change certain aspects, tell me. ओडिया बेसी कही दूची, इंग्लिश बेसी कही दूची, या कौन असुविधा होची, and all those things. And until next time, when I bring my next question paper discussion, I'll take your leave for now. Thank you.